All right, guys, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome in for you first-timers. Welcome back for everybody else. We got a lot to cover tonight. I wish I had probably 4 or 5 hours. I have so much material. You guys have been amazing. You see the email down there at the bottom. I put it on a crawler. You guys have been amazing. Emailing me things that I hadn't thought of, emailing things that I hadn't considered, and for the guy who went over Google searches, you've made a guy who just goes over Google searches feel pretty good the last couple of days. So appreciate you guys tuning in. I told you I wouldn't show up to waste your time. I would only show up if I had something to cover, and tonight is no exception. Tonight is no exception. I've got a lot to get through. Hey, you must be an old school listener. Oh, I know, Russ. Yeah, you're an old school listener if you're calling me the Grand Mufti. That nickname goes back 10 plus years. But I've got a lot to cover. Guys, every so often, an event comes along, a story comes along, and the story is so massive that you have a hard time believing it will ever leave the news cycle. Think about it. We had the Vegas shooting, for example. It was the largest mass shooting in history, American history. There were 867 people shot. 867 people shot. I think 60 killed. Or no, 867 people injured. 400 and something shot. I think there were 60 killed. Like that's a real event. That's real tragedy. It was unprecedented. It left the news cycle in days. Days. It got like a 3-page FBI report out of it. That's what we ended up with. We had Trump's ear being buzzed in Butler, Pennsylvania. 1 dead. 1 future president and past president wounded. At least 2 others wounded. And we didn't even get an accurate count of how many people were actually injured before it left the news cycle. For example, former Texas Representative Ronnie Jackson said his nephew was wounded. There were reports of a woman being wounded. There were images of a woman being carried off with a bloody arm. Neither of them were counted among the officially declared wounded. And I suspect that's because they were seated in inconvenient places to the single shooter narrative. But for whatever reason, we never got any answers to why they weren't included among the wounded, because the story so quickly left the news cycle. These stories aren't isolated. It's repeated over and over and over. Tragedy strikes, tragedy briefly reported, tragedy buried before anyone can give a sincere or honest analysis, or much less begin any kind of independent investigation to determine whether the official story is accurate. That was the expectation on September 10th. That was the expectation with the death of Charlie Kirk. If the news cycle could be controlled, Tyler Robinson would have been blamed as an insane lone gunman. The collective media would have moved on. They would have made about a day or two's worth of news. But they were mistaken. Oh, how they were mistaken. They misunderstood. They miscalculated the modern media landscape. They misunderestimated, to borrow a phrase, how sick and tired we are of this rinse and repeat cycle of burying tragedies in tiny little bows around impossibly ridiculous official narratives. They didn't know people like Candace Owens would arrive on the scene. They didn't know she'd be carrying a giant magnifying glass, looking under every rock, pushing aside every blade of grass. They didn't know people like Ian Carroll would show up, Zeb Boykin, Sam Parker, Clayton Morris, Project Constitution, Ryan Mata, Jimmy Dore. I don't know who I'm missing. I'm talking about people who have done the analysis, done the investigation, and amplified it, including your humble host here on this program. Many others. They never expected us. They never expected us to do actual research or just amplify the research of others. Wasn't on their radar. For the first time in history, they can't control the news cycle. Not because what happened to Charlie Kirk is uniquely suspicious, or even because the official story is uniquely absurd. They've buried legitimate stories under suspicion and absurdity for years. Think about it. A lone gunman took 3 shots at a moving JFK within a few seconds of each other. And when he finally finished them off, he did it with a magic bullet. Airliners took down the Twin Towers and a random building a few hundred yards away. but they made sure to leave the passports conveniently on top of the rubble. A Sirhan shot RFK from the opposite side. You remember Gary Webb? I'm going deep now. Deep 90s news now. Gary Webb offed himself by shooting himself in the head. Twice. Seth Rich. Now we'll go back about 10 years. Seth Rich was randomly murdered in a robbery gone wrong, but unfortunately the robbers didn't bother taking his watch, his wallet, his cell phone. And unfortunate for the official narrative, when he gets in the ambulance, he's alert, he's talkative, and he's unaware he'd even been shot when he got into the ambulance on the way to the hospital. Conveniently, for some, he died in surgery a couple hours later. Keep in mind, he died in surgery a couple hours later. What might have been the case of Charlie Kirk? That brings us to Charlie Kirk. Charlie's story was supposed to be thrown into the dustbin of history, right on top of these stories, right on top of JFK, right on top of RFK, right on top of 9/11, right on top of Gary Webb, right on top of Seth Rich, right on top of the Vegas shooting, right on top of what happened, the attempt on Trump's life in Butler, Pennsylvania. Dozens or other of other stories, maybe hundreds of other stories, where the news cycle just swiftly moves on after reporting something so obviously fake. So obviously fake. Something's different this time. I hope. I want to believe that's true. I want to believe that the tens of thousands turning into this program, the hundreds of thousands or millions turning into the other programs that are investigating the death of Charlie Kirk, I want to believe they're sufficient to keep the news cycle open long enough to investigate this and withstand these repeated, violent, inorganic attempts to slam the doors closed on the investigation. And with that, I want to turn to where we left off Sunday. I want to start back with Mikey McCoy. And I want to do so specifically and in light of what I covered on this program Sunday. I want to review what was said about him Monday. And on the, I don't know how to say it, the weirdly, maybe morbidly named Charlie Kirk Show. If you didn't catch it, three people not named Mike McCoy or Mikey McCoy set out to defend Mikey McCoy. They told us what he thought. They told us what he did. They told us what he said. And probably more importantly, they told us why he did those things, why he thought those things, why he said those things. They were, to put it bluntly, mind readers. They were psychic mediums. You know what they weren't, though? They weren't Mikey McCoy. And to believe anything said on that podcast, and we're going to play a clip of it shortly, about Mikey McCoy's actions, anything Mikey McCoy may have done in the immediate, I mean very immediate aftermath of Charlie Kirk's death, it requires us to give Mikey McCoy the benefit of the doubt. But here's the thing. The right to the benefit of the doubt must be earned. It is not freely given. It is not God's grace. It doesn't come from omniscient beings. We're not gods, we're humans. And the benefit of the doubt comes from humans who live among each other in this great societal contract, this great social contract. And that social contract requires that we're honest with each other. It requires that those who speak on our behalf are honest. It requires reason. It requires logic. It requires consistency with our knowledge and experience as humans. And nothing those three said about Mikey McCoy on that podcast are consistent with any of that. It was a fundamental disaster. If your goal was to bury the Mikey McCoy angle of this story, you failed, and you failed miserably. In fact, it's actually worse on him now than had you not said anything at all. In short, we're not required to believe you. We're allowed to evaluate what you say. We're allowed to measure it against reality. We're allowed to come to our own conclusions. And if our conclusions differ from your version of events, we're allowed to say so. Because here's the deal. Everything I'm hearing about Charlie Kirk out of TPUSA right now is unbelievably disciplined. It carries a single message. Charlie Kirk knew he was going to die. He expected to die. And I keep thinking, I keep wondering, I mean, I've been hit with this for weeks now. Why are they flooding us with this narrative? Well, because he died. That's the best answer I can come up with. He died. And I mean, the message essentially is, it's what Charlie would have wanted. Charlie knew he was going to die. It's what he wanted. Stop worrying your pretty little head about it and move on. So in light of that, why did Mikey turn tail and I'd say run, but it was more of like a mosey. Why did he turn tail and mosey? Because Charlie knew he was going to die, told Mikey to do that. Why is everyone in such a rush to move on and enjoy the bountiful harvest of all the new fundraising and all the new chapter requests that are just pouring in the wake of Charlie's death? Because Charlie knew he was going to die, and he would want them to swim in the spoils of his aftermath. Why was there a miniature Super Bowl for his memorial service? It had political royalty, music, fireworks. Because Charlie knew he was going to die. He wanted them to send him off with a big party. It always comes back to that message, that same message over and over and over. And let me tell you, it's gross. It's gross. The message is gross. It's morbid and it's gross. We get it, though. People say morbid things. People say morbid things in the moment. I've been at political events where we all wore bulletproof vests. The attendees, the people putting on the event, the people speaking, we all wore bulletproof vests. And at the time, we didn't know if we were protecting ourselves from leftists or elitists. We just knew there was danger. And guess what? People said morbid things in the moment. I've been on phone calls with people. And I'm talking about people facing national and international news events, crushing their souls, destroying their spirits. I'm talking about the type of stress that can cause you to have a heart attack or worse just from the intensity of the pressure. And I've heard them talk about their deaths. I've heard them say who they want to speak at their funeral, who they want to carry their casket. But you know what? If any of those people were shot in broad daylight after telling me that, I would not interpret their stressful utterances as their desires for me to just move swiftly on past their death because they mentioned they might die. And to make sure nobody's too bothered by looking to see if we have the right suspect. So to act like Mikey McCoy or his father or anyone else has some free pass and cannot have actions examined, can't have motivations questioned, all because Charlie told them to call his wife if anything happened to him? That's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. Guys, call my wife and tell her I love her. It is the most common final words on any battlefield. And Charlie felt like he was in a battlefield. It's poetry. It's not a get out of scrutiny free pass. It's poetry. There's a whole there's a Johnny Cash song about it. About calling Rose if he dies. Send my love to Rose, please, mister, won't you? So with that said, let's roll the tape back. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about, actually, I'm going to go in. If you've listened to me for a long time, and I saw somebody refer to me as the Grand Mufti, which means you've been around a long, long time. You know, sometimes I get a little cap and gown. I'm going to do that tonight, but I'm going to try to do it towards the end. I'm going to try to keep it upbeat for a little bit. Because I want to roll the tape and look at the Charlie Kirk Show. That few minutes, I want to see if you agree with me on this. Because we have a panel, and I think what's getting lost in this conversation is this panel is attempting to say, I don't know why you guys suspect anything suspicious. I don't know why you think anybody had anything to do with it. I don't know why you think there's anything out of the ordinary. Buddy, the guy leading the discussion, Andrew Colvett, don't lose sight of this when we pull this up. The guy leading the discussion, Andrew Colvett, provided text messages from Charlie to the feds because he thought they might be relevant to his murder. What did those text messages say? I'm done with them. I'm done with those people overseas. Andrew, you thought that was relevant. Andrew, look at me right here. You thought that was relevant to this investigation in its early stages. You thought that was a relevant point. You didn't know we were going to find out about it. You didn't know somebody in the feds were going to leak it to Candace who was going to leak it to us. You had no idea. And had they not done that, had Candace not had good contacts, had Candace not put those out for everybody to see, we still wouldn't know you did that. We wouldn't know those text messages exist. We wouldn't know that angle of the story is relevant to anything at all, Andrew Colvett. You see the problem here? You see the problem here? You're holding out on us. All of you are. And I don't believe any of you. I don't believe any of you. Because you're going to get up there on this, again, morbidly and weirdly named Charlie Kirk Show. He's not alive, guys. Not alive. I think they had the Rush Limbaugh show for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then they switched it over to Buck and whoever the other guy is. Clay Travis. And then they changed the name of the show. How long are we going to call it the Charlie Kirk Show? I don't mind. I mean, it's your thing, but it's weird, right? It's weird. It's weird. I want to show you this. I want to show you this. I want to go through just a few lines of it. I don't want to sit here and do 10 minutes of this. These guys make me sick. But I want to go through a few minutes of it. And I want you to keep in the back of your mind one single component, which is the guy in the middle, Andrew Colvett, wants to act to you like he is totally just gobsmacked why anyone is questioning the official narrative, why anyone thinks there might be a component to this that's not on the up and up. That man gave text messages from Charlie Kirk to the feds because he thought they might be relevant in his death. He thought it might have been an international conspiracy to murder him. And I would go out on a limb and say if there's an international conspiracy to murder somebody, they're probably going to find someone on the inside. Guys, I've got a lot of material stored up. I could go for hours. I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. We'll see how long I go. But I could go for hours with the amount of material I have. But I want to watch this real quick. I think I've got it set up so you guys are going to be able to hear it. I always have this problem every week.
I had to do a little addressing of a video that went viral this weekend, and it's a video of Charlie's chief of staff. We made the decision that we wanted to address this head on because, candidly, there's so much intrigue, and I'm gonna do a generous thing. The intrigue is because people care about Charlie. Okay. So that part I understand.
You're more generous than I'd be.
Yes, and that's fine. And I am going to give you the floor here now, Blake, because you were there and you actually interacted with Mikey. You were with Mikey. You left the scene and then connected with Mikey. So explain what the video is.
All right, I'm not going to.
Hey, he opens up fine. Hey, people are here because they care about Charlie. Now, from here on out, it's like if you question the official narrative, you hate Charlie, you hate the family, you're trying to inflict pain on people, you want people to suffer. It actually gets weirder than that. But I want you to keep in mind, this whole time, had somebody in the feds not leaked the text messages that Andrew Colvett, the guy in the center right there in the sport coat over a T-shirt, for whatever reason he's doing that. Throw on a hoodie, bro. If you want to be comfortable, you don't have to dress up. This isn't the Masters. This isn't the Oval Office. You're allowed to wear a hoodie. You're allowed to wear a T-shirt. That guy gave text messages because he thought there might have been an international conspiracy to murder the guy he worked for. And had those not been leaked out, you wouldn't know about him, and he'd be gaslighting you even more. He has to hold back his gas somewhat because he did that and he got caught. But I want to just make sure you never lose sight of that reality. Make sure you never lose sight of that reality. Now, one thing I want to do, and this is low down, this is dirty, but when I have not paid any attention to the Charlie Kirk Show. I have not paid any attention to who works at TPUSA. In fact, as I was watching on live with you guys Sunday night, as I was watching the video feeds that we kept switching back for, I saw a little pudgy guy sitting next to Mikey. I didn't know it was Blake Neff. I know who Blake Neff is. I remember when Blake Neff was dishonorably discharged from the Tucker Carlson show in Fox News. I do remember that. I'm glad he found a place to land on his feet. That's nice. That's nice. But when you have that history, Mr. Neff, of the things you said on the internet that caused you to be fired from the Tucker Carlson show and Fox News in general, when you have that history, some of the statements you make here are outrageous. Some of the claims you make here are absolutely outrageous. But let me go on. I don't want to interrupt too long.
Set the scene.
Well, I'm not going to wallow in it at length, but it's gone viral and people have asked us to address it, and we're going to do so briefly. The video, without going way into it, is by, I can't even remember the guy's name. Someone made a video that is attacking Mikey, Charlie's friend.
Do you believe that for a second? That Blake Neff doesn't know who posted the video. Base Sam Parker is almost a household name in the Charlie Kirk sphere. Base Sam Parker has become a household name almost on that video alone. He was doing the yeoman's work before then. He's doing the yeoman's work after that. But that video alone put Base Sam Parker on the map. I bet he got 50% more followers on that one video alone. You're telling me Blake Neff doesn't know who that was? I'm not talking about Candace calling me the guy who went over Google searches, right? That's understandable. Who am I? Who am I? But don't act like you don't know who Sam Parker is. Come on, stop it. Stop it. Did Barron say Neff was fired from Fox and used to work for Tucker? Yes. You ought to Google why he was fired and then put in context of that situation what he's saying here. It'll be disgusting to you. Because if other people had the same thoughts about Blake Neff that Blake Neff has about people who are just investigating the Charlie Kirk, I don't want to call it a murder. It's more than that. If more people had that thought about Neff, he wouldn't have landed on his feet. He wouldn't be working at TPUSA. He wouldn't be there. Let me go back. Let me let Mr. Auto Admit continue.
Charlie's chief of staff, a guy all of us know, a guy who we've seen on the show here the last few weeks. They are attacking him, claiming, based on a few seconds of clips, that he allegedly has like a nonchalant or calm reaction to Charlie's murder. And I'm just going to be blunt about this. This is a extremely disgusting attack. And I can speak to that because I was there when it happened and I was next to Mikey when it happened. And
now I can confirm there was a pudgy guy next to Mikey. It's the guy that I couldn't tell last time if he was in a, but I kept saying there's a guy in a long sleeve button down shirt. And some of you thought it was Phil Lyman. It was not Phil Lyman. Phil Lyman was up in the Sorensen Center by that time, where some people suspect a shot might have come from, frankly. He was up in the Sorensen Center. That had to be Neff. Neff had to be the frumpy guy next to Mikey. I will show you later how quick Neff can move. He still got it. He ain't as good as he once was, but he's as good once as he ever was, because you're going to see him scamper. This boy has wheels when he needs them. He's got wheels. He's got wheels. You look at that man right there and you think he can't go that fast. Hey, I know some decent athletes that would have trouble outrunning Neff as fast as he was moving. I'll show you. I've got it. Blake, I got your back, bro. I got your back. I know you still got some eligibility left.
What I can say is, I can't say every single thing that happened, but I want to talk about this specific narrow thing, that the shooting occurs. I am next to Mikey. Both of us hear a loud crack. We both turn. We both see Charlie, who has been shot. Both of us, I think at about the same time, realize that means there is a shooter who is on the scene. And, you just hear the crack, so you don't know, did it come from far away? Did it come from close? Is there a mass shooter unfolding right now? So I and him both had the reaction of, let's get out of here before we are both shot.
Guys, it was 0.8 of a second. Mikey and I sat there and we contemplated the meaning of life for a few minutes. We thought about Charlie being sprung from his mortar coil. We knew instantly it was tragic. I estimated from the volume loss of the blood coming from his neck that his chances for survival were very slow. I also knew from the noise, the tremendous sound of the rifle, that danger was afoot. And in that moment, I had to contemplate, what is it I'm going to do with my life? Am I going to spring into action to save my fallen comrade? Or am I going to turn and I'm going to, I can't even describe how fast Blake Neff got out of there. Because in a second, he's going to tell us how hard it was to get out of back there. Oh, they had us corralled. And guys, he had smoke coming from his heels. Smoke.
That is not us abandoning Charlie. Charlie had a security team. They all leapt immediately into action, and they got Charlie out of there, which was what their job was to do. My job was not to get in the way and screw this up because, like, I had to be a hero. That was not my job. I remember even running past, both of us going past.
Guys, he thought about all of that in 0.8 of a second. I mean, he got down to what was his role in life? What was his vocation? Was I supposed to be a hero? Was I to leap into battle? Was I supposed to cover up Charlie? Was I supposed to render first aid? Well, nay, say though I think in that moment I should turn and I should flee. I should go. That's a lot in 0.8 of a second. I mean, that's a lot. And when you see the video I'm about to show you, you're going to wonder, when did you do all this, bro? Because all I saw was like you looking left and right.
The SUV that we came in on, and me thinking, should I get in that car? And then thinking, no, that's a really stupid thing to do. And then I kept going. So I was not with Mikey, or I don't remember being with him. I think I was ahead of him as we left. And then we get out, and I run for...
I can assure you he was ahead of Mikey. I have that on footage. Again, because Blake Neff took off like a scalded cat. He was gone, baby. Woo! Blake Neff has not reached that speed maybe ever in his life, but certainly since middle school when they were doing the Presidential Fitness Award and you had to do the shuttle runs back and forth, 30 feet down, 30 feet back, 30 feet down, 30 feet back. I'm not saying Blake Neff was setting world records in the shuttle run, but I bet you that's the fastest he's run since that day. I just guarantee it. I guarantee it. And while he's doing this, obviously he has the presence of mind to think, now that's the SUV I came in on. Should I get in it? No, should not get in it. Am I in front of Mikey? Yes, actually I am.
Can't have been more than 15 or 20 seconds. And then I realized there hasn't been another shot, so the shooter has likely been detained or stopped or something, not in immediate danger.
I mean, guys, he's thinking about the ultimate end of this thing. I bet they have the shooter detained by now. I bet they got him. You know how these things go. The last time I was at one of these shooting events, they seem to capture him. What, bro, what experience do you have that you're able to make this determination on the fly in the moment? All right, I got to show you the video. I got to show you the video because I cannot listen to this guy describe this anymore without you seeing what I saw. Guys, you will not believe a single thing he just said about how he was contemplating his humanity. He was reading up on metaphysics. Oh, where is it? Here we go. All right, here we go. Y'all about to see Blake. You're going to see Blake Neff in rare form. Rare form. You ready for this? All right, let me set the stage. Someone said I needed a new pen because you can't see my mouse. Hey, not my fault. All right, this is Mikey. You know Mikey. He's hidden behind this camera. He's texting. Now, we're told later that he's sending out, that he's posting viral clips or something. Hey, if that's true, where are they? Because I have looked on every single TPUSA outlet I can find. I've looked at them all. I've looked at the individuals. I've looked at Mikey. I've looked at everything. I've looked at Instagram. I've looked at TikTok. I've looked at X. I've looked at Facebook. People still use that. I don't see any evidence that in the 10 minutes leading up to Charlie Kirk's assassination, anything was being posted by anyone. And if so, does the chief of staff do that? Is that the chief of staff's job? to post? Maybe. All right, I want to play this. All right, so this is Blake Neff. See this guy with a little bit of overhang here? He got a little muffin top. That's okay, though. Hey, Blake, you're young. You got time. Cut your carbs. Off the couch, bud. Off the carbs, off the couch. You'll lose that in 3 months. All right. I'm going to show you this. You're going to hear the crack, and you're going to see Blake Neff spring into action. Look behind the tent. Boom! Did you see that bolt of lightning? Did you see the bolt of lightning that was Blake Neff? I'll play it again. You might not have seen it, guys. It was that fast. You might not have seen it. Just know it's the guy that you just catch a blur of him. Boom! He's like Flash Gordon. He's Carl Lewis. I mean, I might have dated me, that reference. What's the guy's name that from Jamaica? Can't think of his name right now. He's like an Olympic sprinter. Watch this area back here behind the tent. Now you'll see him here. Remember this guy. And you'll see him look left, look right, like he's juking out a Usain Bolt. That's it. Juking out a linebacker. And now watch, and then you just got to watch behind there because you'll see the ever so briefest flash just blow by your screen. That's Blake Neff. Following a few seconds behind that, you'll see Mikey McCoy mosey. Now, we'll find out in a minute. Blake says, you can't run back there. Yeah, in fact, the corral was situated and constructed such that you couldn't actually, Neff Joyner Kersey, that's great. You couldn't actually get going. It's too fast, too crowded back there. What we'll learn is that cannot possibly be true because absolutely everybody in the screen is running, except Mikey. He leaves before everyone else, and he's the last one to the gate. Watch this. I'm going to play it again. I'll play it on slower motion if I have to. But watch this as I play it again. Guys, he even did like a juke step. Watch this. I'm going to show you this. He even had to hit her with the jab step, like a linebacker was coming, and he had to hit her with the jab step and cross her up. I heard Ian Carroll say that Frank Turek is the only person in the screen that acted like a normal person. I would add that Blake Neff probably acted like a normal person. Frank Turek hits the deck. He scrambles around. He's looking around. He eventually ends up running off with everybody else. That's normal life, baby. That's normal life. But I want you to watch this. I'll slow it down. Well, after you see who it is, I'll play it back at real speed. But I'm going to do it at half speed here. There goes Blake Neff. Did you see it? Did you see the jab step? Maybe I'll go to quarter speed. It's that fast. We got to go down to quarter speed. Dude, I'm telling you, he was that fleet of foot. He was cat-like in his reactions. He was like a cheetah. Watch this. Watch it again. Quarter speed. Boom. Hit it with the jab step, Blake. There we go. And off he goes. Now let's compare his swiftness to Mikey McCoy. There goes Mikey. Look at literally everyone else on the screen is in a dead sprint. Some of them are running left. Some of them are running right. Everybody's running every which way. I need to turn that volume off because it's deafening me. Everyone's running every which way, but everyone's in a dead sprint. Everyone. So now now that you saw them and you know where they were, I'm going to play it back at full speed, and you can watch Blake Neff hit Mach speed back there. And then I'm going to play what he said about how you can't go fast back there. All right, so here we go.
Counting or not counting gang violence.
Boom! There goes the bolt. Wow. There goes Mikey. Literally everyone else was in a sprint. Even Frank Turek, who looks to be in his 60s, was in a sprint. That's probably the fastest he's run in 3 decades. Okay, now that I've played that, I don't need to belabor the point. You saw what I saw. You saw peak athleticism out of Blake Neff. Now I want to go back because he's about to get into why it is that you cannot do this. Now I want to say that the title of this video is so arrogant. It is so arrogant. It is so condescending. It's called Debunking Viral Video, Attacking Charlie's Chief of Staff, Mikey McCoy. Nobody's attacking him. People are asking a question. Bro, why were you the only person in the entire facility not moving swiftly? Why are you the only... Hey, someone just made a good comment here. Why are you the only one with your hands to your ears? No one else has their hands in their ears. That's a great comment, Tiff Buck. Where was that? There, right there. No one else had hands on their ears. Mikey's the only one. All right, let's hear it from Blake. Let's hear it directly from Blake.
I pause, I look around me, and I see Mikey. And I see Mikey there.
Did you see him pause and look around? Okay, I'm done with that.
And I will never forget what I saw, because I've seen Mikey almost every day for the past 2 years. I know his personality very well. He's a very bubbly guy. He's a very happy.
Gay. The word you're looking for is gay. And I mean it in the truest sense of the word. Happy. Like they used it in the Flintstones theme song. We'll have a gay old time. That's the word you're looking for. Mikey's gay. Again, Flintstone gay. We'll have a gay old time.
Guy almost all of the time. And I'll never forget what I saw, because it was clear in the moment that he was profoundly freaked out. What I'll always remember is the way his lip was quivering, which I'd never seen before. And you very rarely
stand for faith.
Oh, shoot. I did not mean to hit that. This right here is what we call the trust me, bro defense. This is the trust me, bro defense. You got to believe everything I'm saying. You got to believe everything you're saying. I'm not dating myself with the Flintstones. That was new in like the 40s or something, wasn't it, or the 60s? But it was on like every day when I was a kid. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about it. And it's a great theme song. Let me see if I can find exactly where it was. I totally screwed that up. Did not mean to do that.
And then he says,
oh,
I need to call Erica.
Exactly where he was.
Then he takes his phone and he begins calling Erica. And
okay, so this is important. This is important. After setting an American record race time from where Blake Neff was standing to wherever he ended up, and I don't know how far he went. I'm thankful he wasn't even faster. I'm thankful he wasn't even faster, because I don't know where he would have ended up. But he ran in a dead sprint, 15 to 18 seconds. I don't know how long he had to stop and wait on Mikey to catch up. But he looks at him and says, I got to call Erica. Okay. But again, his lip was quivering. He was shaking. Yeah, trust me, bro. Trust me. Why are you even saying this? This isn't debunking. This is giving another story. You're complaining that we don't have facts to back up our story. You don't have facts to back up your story.
I don't want to disclose how that call unfolded, but he did that. Your mind extends all of this, but that is happening within a minute of all of this occurring. I remember he calls Erica. Around the same time, I pull out my phone and I call my mom just to say, Mom, there's been a shooting. You're going to see it on the news. I'm okay. Pray for me. I've got to go. And I remember that call. And around the time I put that phone away, and then he immediately calls his dad. He calls Rob McCoy. And he says, Dad, someone shot Charlie. You need to call all of your pastor friends.
You know what this reminds me of? I just had this thought. You know what this is? This is the auditory version of Tyler Robinson's fake texts. That's what this is. This is all right. Let's feed the story into GPT and let it feed us back a story of what we should have known. Let me tell you, he was very shaken up. His lip was quivering, but he was steely-eyed when he said, I have to call Erica. I remember that specifically, and I remember the minute he called. I called her within 1 minute. And then he had to call his dad, Pastor Rob McCoy. Had to call the pastor. And he was only thinking of Charlie, because he said, you got to pray for everyone. You got to pray. Everyone has to start praying right now. Remind me of Catholics. It's intercessory prayer, friend. Anyway, I digress. And then I had to call my mom, let her know I was okay. I'm guessing, well, I don't want to say that. That'd be ugly, and I'm not going to do that. This is the auditory version of the fake texts. The my love texts. The I did it. I confess everything. I was on the roof. I had the gun. I had the bullets. Remember how I was engraving bullets and you didn't know why I was engraving bullets? Well, this is why I was engraving bullets, my love. Remember all the bullets I engraved? Let me just, hey. Right here, back here. We got to talk again. If you're ever in a situation where you're in a room with someone who's engraving bullets, the hell out of there. The hell out of there. Don't ask questions. Don't pass go. Block the person from every social media. Delete their phone number and call the police. Call the police. Call the police. There I was, my love, engraving bullets. Neck deep in neck deep in a struggle for the future of furry trannies all over the plane. I was just in a struggle all over the place. And I had, my love, I had to engrave those bullets. You remember those bullets. Well, now as I'm waiting to retrieve the rifle from my vessel, I have time to script a complete confession of every aspect of this and assure you I was alone, solely responsible. That's what Blake Neff is doing here. Blake Neff is talking about engraved bullets.
Charlie was hit. We need everyone to pray right now. And that's what he told him. And I guess it's very disgusting for me as someone who witnessed this, who saw Mikey hugely distressed and then step up in the moment, because after that call was over, I saw Mikey like get total mastery of himself, that he realized he had to step up in this situation. And
let me date myself again. Mikey became the master of his own domain. You guys remember Seinfeld? The master of his own domain. Mikey was in total control. You saw the way he puffed his chest up? Mikey was sad and his lip was quivering. He made 2 phone calls, one to Erica, one to Pastor. And then his chest puffed open. He became like Superman. He became like Superman, like Charlie's neck bones. Not little chicken bones and not little vertebrae. No, rods of steel. That was the amazing Mikey McCoy in the moment, ladies and gentlemen. The amazing Mikey McCoy. The brilliant Mikey McCoy. I'm telling you right now, the way they talk about him, I believe he did it. Like, I would almost believe he did it himself. Like, he planned it. He executed it. Somehow he had maybe that's why he was holding his phone like this. He had a weapon. The way they're talking about him, you would only talk about somebody if they did it alone. That's honestly about where I am with this story. That's about where I am with this fawning. I almost said it again. This very happy child. This 24-year-old happy individual.
And from that point, he was like a general directing a battle, where he was, grabbing people and saying, okay, we need to get to the hospital and we need to do these things. And you guys need to wait here. I need to get in here to get information so that I can get it to Erica. And when we learned he was dead, he came out and he told us, and then he says, and
No. I'm not going to let that slide. We learned he was dead before he was loaded in the SUV. Gray shirt guy, tan shirt guy. He's the one that told us he was dead. Candace played that on her podcast the other day. Was it yesterday or Monday? She played that. She played that one. We didn't have to wait on some surgeon to come out and tell us. We didn't have to wait on a surgeon. Charlie's team had already announced it on video. They got him. He's dead. They killed Charlie. He's dead. Hold on. Let me do that. Take 2. Crack. They got him. They shot Charlie. Oh, take 3. They shot Charlie. Hold, please. Hold the line. Line. Oh, he's dead. He's dead. We already knew. We've known he was dead. Or your team had known he was dead.
And he says, now, none of you can say anything that you've heard because it is, Erica is not going to hear about this from anyone except me.
Can I ask a question? I've just been thrown into this 10 minutes ago.
I'm not going to entertain that guy. He had no business in that discussion, and I don't know why they let him talk. Oh, I got some supers I got to get to. I'll get to in a second. Thank you, by the way, for your super donation. They're very, very generous. It makes this even more fun. This is fun, but they make it even more fun. If I'm being honest, I cannot believe that they will sit there. I cannot believe that the talking points people will sit there. I agree. I want to know who is they. Who's he talking? Who they got? They got Charlie. They shot him. I cannot believe that they will sit there and act like Andrew Colvette's first instinct wasn't that he was killed by an international crime syndicate. I mean, that is the state of the Charlie Kirk Show today. That's the state of the Charlie Kirk Show today. All right, you got me. Every now and then you guys get me. That got me. I feel like I'm an all right guy. Like if you want to go and take a test and like see if we're smart, you're smart, I'm smart, great. But don't patronize me. Don't talk to me like I'm an idiot. They go on. I'm not even playing the rest of it because they go on and they say, oh, if you're reporting on this, you're a drug addict. You're like a porn head. Ian used a word the other day. I had to look up what a gooner was. I'd never heard that word. That must be what the kids are saying. I think Ian's a lot younger than I am. Either that or he has a great hair and beard stylist that hides all his gray hair. I do not share the luxury. I have to cut. Yeah. Hey, let me tell you this. This is funny. So I wanted to look this up, but I didn't want it on, I didn't know what it was. You kept using it over and over, and I didn't want it on my machine. So I grabbed someone else's phone and looked it up. Hey, we do those things. We do those things. But I'm not going through all that. I just wanted you to know that old Blake Neck Speed lied to you because he said, oh, it's this choke point. You couldn't really get out of there. Buddy, that's probably why they had to repave the place. He burnt the grass. He was running so fast. That's why they had to hire Hardscape Utah to come in there and fix it all up on a Sunday afternoon. Because Blake burnt the place down with his speed. But I like that. Somebody said that no one else was covering their ears. And supposedly he was covering his ears. But I've covered my ears before. I'm down here, right? I'm down here. Have you ever covered your ears up here? Does anyone cover their ears like this? If you do, stop. Stop it. You're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing your friends. You're embarrassing your family. You're embarrassing your family name. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Cover your ears like a normal person. For crying out loud. All right. So that was the first thing I wanted to cover. I had to cover that because when I saw it, I thought, this is ludicrous. Everything they're saying here is ludicrous. Now, let me get to some of these, and then I'm going to get to my next topic here. You will be remembered for your good works. May Saint Michael lay his protection on you. Hey, my wife and I say the Saint Michael, the Archangel prayer every night directly before bed. Those are the last words we say to each other before we go to bed. That's the last words we say. I had kind of a kinship with Charlie when they said he was wearing a Saint Michael medal when he passed. Because I thought, hey, I'm a big St. Michael guy. Thank you. Great information. Thank you, Christy Brown, 48. I should have said that first one in case she's listening and not watching. Cindy Lou, 3176. Rosie Kiesel, subscribe because of Ian Carroll, and he didn't stir me wrong. Keep asking the hard questions and speaking truth. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Ian, thank you. I can't thank you enough. Have you searched the gun, bullets, engravings? Wasn't here for the last streams. I have. I think they might have been on my first show. Or maybe they're just on my spreadsheet of searches I've run and I haven't covered them yet. And I admit, Ian has probably a better spreadsheet than I have of my own searches because I didn't put on there a column for whether or not I covered it on air or not. So he probably has a better one. Thank you, Jesse Bands, for the generous donation. Bays, you made Mikey McCoy disappear faster than the Epstein file off of Bondi's desk. Keep up the good work. That's funny. That's funny. Super stickers. Thank you, Vesna Sirachevska. Anastasia Beaverhausen. That was from Will and Grace. Thank you for your cooperation on this matter, Mr. Coleman. Praying for your safety and the safety of your family. Blessed and keep on going. I, too, am praying for my safety. I don't know why investigating a homicide should make you less safe, particularly if they have the guy in custody. Why can't Mikey McCoy just speak for himself instead of these three jabronis? I don't know what a jabroni is, but I have the same question. You know who wasn't on that screen, who should have been in that fourth chair, or who should have been there instead of the random Breitbart editor? Mikey McCoy. Mikey McCoy. He's been on the show like 10 times since Charlie died. Why not today? Or whatever day that was. Neff makes me want to puke. I don't want to say that, Penny Mills. Blake's just doing his job. But I do think it's really lousy when you said the things you said, Blake, and you're getting on to people for the things they're saying. I think it's really poor taste. Really, really poor taste. Carrie Ann Pearl 260. Hey, Baron, I'm curious about your thoughts on the squib theory and the Hollywood blood stunt specialist guy that was with them. Carrie Ann, that was not a Hollywood blood stunt specialist. It was a guy named Butch Hibbs, I think is his last name. Butch Hibbs, Hibbs. He is the brother of Jake Hibbs. I know you're talking about the old guy with the white beard and the white 47 hat with the signature on it. He is the brother to a pastor. Now, he is suspicious as hell. No doubt about it. He doesn't move when the shot is fired. And then when Life is Driving, who also is suspicious as hell, when Life is Driving is going around filming afterwards for like 45 minutes, guess who's in the background of like half his shots? Yeah, Butch Hibbs. Butch Hibbs is in the background of all those shots. And if you run a Google Trends search on his name, guess what you're going to find? I could do that tonight live on the air if you need me to. I don't have one pulled up saved, but I could recreate it because I've done it. It's on my spreadsheet. Butch Hibbs. Yes. So his brother is a pastor. This is important too. The old Agent 47, white hat, scribbled signature, white beard, long sleeves. The only person in the entire audience that was in long pants, long sleeves, I think. He is the brother of Jake Hibbs, who is a pastor in the same church organization that Rob McCoy is a pastor at. I think it's called Chapel Calvary or something. Calvary Chapel, maybe. Rob McCoy, Mikey McCoy's dad, is a pastor of one of those, and it's in California. And this other guy is a pastor, Jake Hibbs, is a pastor of one, I think, in Salt Lake. I think. It's around there somewhere, maybe Provo. But I think it's near there. I could be wrong about that. Don't hold me to the location of Jake Hibbs' church. Don't go through the whole, oh, he's wrong. I don't remember where it was. But I'm pretty sure Butch lives in Utah. And the story is that Butch Hibbs was invited by Frank Turek at the request of Jake Hibbs. In other words, I know this is a lot of names you've not heard, and it's probably very confusing, and it doesn't make good radio. But let me break it down as simply as I can. Rob McCoy and Jake Hibbs are pastors. I think his name's Jake. Maybe Jack. Jack Hibbs. They're pastors of the same type of maybe denomination, organization. I don't know what you call that. They're not Catholic. I think they're Pentecostal. Rob McCoy and Jake Hibbs are pastors. Jake Hibbs has a brother named Butch, or Jack Hibbs, whatever his name is, has a brother named Butch. Butch asked Frank Turek, can I come with you? Or someone asked on behalf of Butch, can Butch go with you to the Utah event? And that's how Butch ended up there. That's the story. And if he didn't look suspicious as hell constantly, I would be okay with that story. But he's not a Hollywood stunt guy that I'm aware of. If he is, he hides it very well. Now, what he appears to be anyway, is a dispensationalist. If you look at his Facebook page, and I have, it's very pro-Middle Eastern country. Very, very pro-Middle Eastern country. Good question. $5. Thank you, Carrie Ann Pearl. Rush Limbaugh used to say, the audience's goal is to make the host look great, and you executed that flawlessly. So thank you. Sandy, Colorado, $9.99. Thank you, sir, for all your hard work, and you are hilarious. I agree. I am hilarious. I kid. I don't find myself that funny. My wife does not think I'm funny at all. Maybe a little funny, but not as funny as and she's kind of annoyed when you people think I'm funny. I kid. Don't you don't have to come in here and tell them I'm lying. I'm admitting I'm lying. Colossical, $4.99. Tyler Boyer started a company called Superfeed, like Show Faith by Works. Lori Francevy sits as board director. You should have. Thank you. That's very generous. But I probably will forget that. So if you want me to look at that, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com, because that sounds interesting, if it's true. La Baron. Hey, we share that in common. Not only did Mikey walk away, he walked away with his back to the shooter. That's true. Everybody else was kind of down and scrambling. Mikey was just strolling with his back to the shooter. Good call there. $5 super sticker. UT Chief Shari Hall super sticker. Thank you. Tar Girl. Blake gets the Toby Keith Award. I'll allow it. Oh, yeah, he's ain't as good as he once was, but he's as good once as he ever was. That's a deep one there. That's a deep comment. Nathan Durrett, they act like we're just dumb, blind idiots. Why is no one talking about the paramedics on scene that were totally dismissed? I have it on video, and we can talk about it tonight. I can't remember which. I think Ryan Matta may have been the one that was highlighting that today or yesterday. I saw that everywhere. I don't want to take credit from somebody. I just don't remember. But I have it pulled up, and maybe I have it pulled up on the original source. Sometimes you got to get to another source because they put too much AI in the video, right? But yes, you're right. For those, it looks like that to me. I don't want to say you're right. I think you're probably right. While they're putting Charlie in the van or in the SUV, and they're all going, it looks like two guys with paramedics bags show up on the scene, like right there, and they are kept out of the car, and the car takes off. That's a little weird to me. And as Ian pointed out on one or two of his lives, I don't know about the wisdom of moving somebody with a giant neck wound. But I'm old school. It's Blake Neck Speed, boys. That's right. Blake Neck Speed. I like that. Thank you, Baron. Keep exposing these creeks. Laura loves. Thank you. Bronson. Hard to take you serious when you thought tea bags were microchip explosives laying on the platform after. Hey, I asked a question. But thank you for the $10. I asked a question. I don't know what they were. I could not have been more humble when I said, does that look like that to you? What does that look like to you? It looks like this to me. Am I right? I don't know. All right. Now, let me make sure I covered everything there. Yeah. All right. Let me get to this video here real fast. I got one more video I want to kind of review on this. Candace Owens, on her podcast the other day, played this. I think she's the source of this video, if I'm not mistaken. This is the Terrell Farnsworth video, and you'll see the paramedics. I'm playing this now because that was just referenced. This is the guy. I don't know how many takes this took, but this was traumatic. This was really dramatic acting. This was great stuff. Now, I cleared this guy. Another reason I want to play this. Sunday night, I saw him lean in very close to Chuck, right before the shot was taken, like within 30 seconds. And I thought, he ain't in on it. Because if he was in on it, he would not be that close to Charlie. Because within 30 seconds of a major assassination, somebody's looking at you up close. Somebody's looking at you up close. And if you're getting looked at up close, I don't want to be around you. I'm certainly not going to lean in close to you and whisper something in your ear. I'll be like, hey, from over here, we're good. So I want to play this video. I want you to see it because it does have the what looks to me like paramedic. I'll get your opinion. I don't want to disappoint poor Bronson.
They just shot Charlie.
Who is they? Who is they? Are you being anti-Semitic? Who international banksters? Who are you talking about? Who shot him? Because it's weird to me because there was a single gunshot. That would mean he just shot Charlie. Perhaps the rare she just shot Charlie. Oh, I didn't think of something. Maybe Terrell is really progressive. He might be really progressive, and he's using they in the singular, non-binary way, meaning they just shot Charlie. In which case, how did you know he was a tranny?
They just shot Charlie.
There, did you see it? I want you to look at this. Don't look at these people running down here. Look at them. So they just got Charlie into that's Charlie right there. See him going into the van? Like a formation, putting him in there. Now, this is tan shirt guy that everybody thought had the palm gun. Plaid shirt guy down here, getting into, I think, into the back. And that's Frank Turek looking for a way in. Like, I can't get in that way because they just put Charlie in that way. And then he runs over this way. He's like, whoop, can't get in that way. Palm gun guy's in there. I don't think he had a palm gun. I'm just calling him that because that's what everybody's calling him. Can't go that way. Palm gun guy. So he's looking for a way in. He starts frantically grabbing the tailgate. Again, he's the only one acting like a normal person. Frank Turek may be the only guy in Utah that day that acted like a normal person. That was involved with the TPUSA team. Let me say that. A lot of people in the crowd act like a normal person. What'd they do? They hit the ground. They ran. They screamed. But look right here. See these people walking up? They're going to come right behind this car. Charlie just got in the car. Look at these people right here. They've got giant red bags. You see them? They got giant red bags. They're told, I think, to stand up. This guy's actually putting his giant red bag down on the ground like, hey, let me help you. And there's no way to help at that time. So let me go back to Oscar-worthy terror.
They just shot Charlie. He's dead.
Guys, I want to go to the head to the side move. All right, just a second. I gotta freeze frame this. Bear with me. Indulge me, will you? He's dead. Do you see this? Now, here's the thing. This guy knew this footage existed. He knew it existed. And he had to be proud of it because he sent it to someone. He sent it to someone. And you don't think he didn't watch this, right? It's not like he was like, oh, shoot. Yeah, I remember taking video. Here, take a look at it. Dude, he watched this 50 times. He was proud of this. He was proud of this. Oh, he's dead. God, this is great stuff. We wouldn't have this video if he didn't send it to someone. He sent it to Candace Owens. He sent it to Candace Owens. She has like a third of the country subscribed to various platforms of hers. Like, it's not like he sent it to his buddy, right? Who might put it on his buddy's Facebook page with 300 followers. Yeah, I mean, that would be bad enough, frankly. Like, I wouldn't want me in this position on any internet feed on the planet. No, none. This guy was so proud of it. He said, you know who I ought to send this to? Someone with tens of millions of internet followers. Someone that has followers on every single major platform. That's who I ought to send it to. Oh, is he happy? All right. So we don't have to keep going. Well, let me hear him say he's dead one more time because he really warms up for that line. He almost said it, and he was like, what's the line? Oh. Or maybe he went to say it, and he's like, nah, it's too soon. A little more dramatic pause. A little, no. Now, he's dead. Now, release line. This is like Shakespeare, guys. Shakespeare. So, Talking Points USA knows this video exists. Talking Points USA knows that Andrew Colvett sent out text messages because he thought, at least a part of him thought, there was at least a small chance, perhaps a very large chance, that this was an international criminal conspiracy involving people in the Middle East. And they're still going to get on the Charlie Kirk Show. They're still going to get on the Charlie Kirk Show and say, why are you asking questions? Why are you asking questions? How could anybody be suspicious of what we're doing? Huh? How could anybody not trust everything we're doing over here at TPUSA? Oh, hold on. I didn't mean to do that. All right. I had to play that. Now, do I want to play Frank Turek, Dog, and Candace? Because that's too easy. Guys, that's too easy. That's too easy. Oh, I know what I want to get to. I got a call. This is an international call, frankly. You get a call from the other side of the ocean. You ought to review the Turning Point USA team, and I will not tell you more. I thought, I'm intrigued. Where would I go? So I go to Grok, right? Hey, Grok, give me a list of the Turning Point USA team. Because that's all I was told. Review the team. So I reviewed. And I jump on here. And I notice that they have now taken down Charlie Kirk as the CEO and president or whatever, and now Erica is the CEO and chair. Okay. What am I looking for here? So I do some searches on these people. Just, is that what you're asking me to do? And then I saw Justin Olsen's name because he came up on Sunday's show. Somebody mentioned his name. I looked him up. Not a lot there. And I thought, why is Candace Owens still here? Why is Candace Owens still on the Turning Point USA team page? And she has a whole bio. Now, I was told by former Fox News reporters and fellow podcasters on the Patrick Bet David podcast, I was told that Candace Owens was persona non grata around TPUSA. I was told she hadn't been seen in years around that place. That basically they hated her. That she wasn't allowed around. And you remember Charlie saying, I'm so mad at my donors, maybe I'm going to invite Candace. They were like, no, God, no, please. Please rethink this, Chuck. Don't make that horrible mistake. Don't you dare invite someone to speak who is still checks notes listed on the website. Well, that was weird. So then I start clicking through all of them. What else am I going to find? Who else is out here? I notice things, right? I look at a lot of things. I see patterns, and I noticed that all of the women look like supermodels. And all of the men look very happy. Very happy to be working at Turning Point USA. This is a very happy place to work. And I get down to events, and I think, Elizabeth McCoy, well, that's an interesting name. First generation American, raised in Santa Barbara, California. Escaped Soviet persecution. Bilingual in English and Russian. That name looks familiar. She's passionate about preserving freedom and opportunity for future generations. Well, let's go to the record. Let's see. I mean, if she's the well, I got to show one more thing because titles get ridiculous, right? You have working at Turning Points USA an administrative director of events and an events administrative director. All right, I'm not getting nitpicky, but come on, guys, use a little creativity. I know everyone wants to be a director, but damn, guys. Administrative director of events administrative director. So I think maybe she had something to do with the planning in Utah. I don't know, and I don't know the answer to that. I was told maybe she did, but I've not confirmed that, and I have no way to confirm that. Maybe you guys know better people than I know. But I get curious, right? I mean, I get curious as people get curious. Let's just say if you were to do Google searches, Google trend searches, it would be interesting. It would be interesting. I guess I didn't save them. Maybe we can do them live. You want to do some live Google searching? Let's do that, shall we? Let's pull up a page. Let's share that page. And let's get to work. What was her name? Elizabeth McCoy. Elizabeth McCoy. And she has a very Russian-sounding surname. An N-E-E, they call it. What's the word I'm looking for? Maiden name. I always thought that was so nasty. We're going to do a custom time range because if we don't do a custom time range, we're going to end up with some junk feeds here. So let's go, let's say to April. And let's cut this back to the day before Charlie is sprung from his mortal coil. Look in the United States, nothing. Elizabeth McCoy, nothing. So let's go to the District of Columbia because over the United States, not a lot, right? Nothing. Let's go to where she lives, Arizona. Little hit. Mid-July. Let's go overseas. Sometimes that does stuff. Nothing. Okay. Well, let's expand the search a little bit. Maybe our search is maybe it's too narrow. Let's go broader. Nope. So let's go to District of Columbia. This is why I don't like to do this live because you guys look and you say, what is he doing? Well, I'm just curious. I do so many of these searches. Yeah, and just her again, just there in mid-July. So what does this prove, ladies and gentlemen? I was told by other people, these searches are so unreliable. Any name's going to show up anywhere. Well, it didn't. It didn't show up anywhere. What was her maiden name? Kravchuk. So let's look it up as Elizabeth Kravchuk McCoy and see if we get anything. Again, just give me a second because this has value, whether we find anything or not. Nothing in Arizona, probably nothing in the District of Columbia, and probably nothing overseas. But again, you guys tell me, oh, this stuff doesn't mean it. Well, I mean, maybe. That's a little weird. That's a little weird, if I'm being honest. You guys saw that when you just did Elizabeth McCoy, there was nothing, right? You saw that. I did it live. I did it in real time. I was hoping, actually, frankly, that this would show you the value of it, that not every name is in there. But again, 4 days before Charlie Kirk is killed, and mid to late June, Elizabeth Kravchuk McCoy. Now, have any of you ever heard the last name Kravchuk before? I have not. I've never heard the last name Kravchuk. I don't know what it means. I'm not looking it up. Sounds Slavic or Balkan or... Oh, it said Soviet. It sounds Russian. It said Soviet. That's right. Yeah, that was weird. Sorry, guys. I honestly didn't think that was going to happen. But yeah, so maybe this is even weirder, that she is in fact what was her title? The administrative director of events. Well, that was an event. Maybe that's not the events she's in charge of. Who knows? But I'll be honest. If you don't recognize that name, that is Mikey McCoy's wife. Elizabeth Kravchuk McCoy is Mikey McCoy's wife. She also works there. She also works there at Turning Point USA. That was weird, man. Sometimes I baffle even myself. Well, guys, why are we wasting our time doing research on the Charlie Kirk case? Why are we sitting back wasting our time when the FBI doesn't want even the Counterterrorism Center to do research? Now, why would they care? If they've got the right guy, if you're the FBI and you're Kash Patel, and when you're not jet setting all over the country on the taxpayer dime, when you're focused on your job, whatever that happens to be, and you believe you got the guy, and you believe there's no counterterrorism angle to this, there's no terrorism angle, there's no international conspiracy, you're pretty confident that Andrew Colvette's initial instinct that maybe this was an international murder, so he screen caps Charlie Kirk's text saying, I'm scared because my donors are pulling out and I might have to invite Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson to speak. And they're like, no, don't do that. And you think for some reason that has relevance to this. Why would you care if Joe Kent, the National Counterterrorism Director, has a look around? Why would you care if this guy has a look around? Now, I'll say this about Joe Kent. This dude is terrifying. I judge everybody in one of two ways. Would fight, would not fight. I'm not fighting Joe Kent, baby. I'm not fighting Joe Kent. I saw a picture of Joe Kent with his shirt off. I'm done. I'm out. That dude is swole. That's beside the point. Head of the National Counterterrorism Center examined FBI files in the last several weeks to investigate whether the man charged with assassinating Charlie Kirk had support from someone else, a foreign power or another entity, according to multiple people with knowledge of the matter. Well, wouldn't that make sense? Isn't that what we want our government to do post 9/11? Wasn't that the problem? Has anybody watched Tucker Carlson's beautiful 5-episode podcast on 9/11? One of the major problems was that everybody was isolating their own intel into their own little silos, and we didn't know what the CIA was doing, and the CIA didn't know what the FBI was doing, and we didn't know what the NSA was doing, and we didn't know what the AG's office was doing, and we didn't know what the individual states. Nobody knew anything. We didn't know what the FBI was doing. We didn't know what anybody was doing. So if the National Counterterrorism Center comes and says, you mind if I take a peek and just make sure no one else is involved? Yes, Mr. Kent. And don't beat me up. That's the answer. That's the answer, Cash. Yes, Mr. Kent. And don't beat me up. The inquiry by Joe Kent, the director of the Counterterrorism Center, alarmed Kash Patel. Why? Why does it alarm Kash Patel? The only reason I can think of that it would alarm Kash Patel is the same reason you won't release the Epstein files. The only reason it would alarm Kash Patel is the only reason they won't release the full JFK file. The only reason it would alarm Kash Patel is the only reason they won't release the whole Martin Luther King file. The only reason it should alarm Kash Patel is the only reason they won't release anything. If you are holding stuff back, buddy, you are a giant, floating, flapping red flag in the wind. Mr. Patel and other senior officials believe Mr. Kent was overstepping, treading on FBI responsibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, might I remind you, this is not an FBI responsibility. Might I remind you, Tyler crossed no state boundaries. Might I remind you, Tyler took no crack at a federal official. Might I remind you, this is a state police matter. Tyler is in state court. If anyone's overstepping responsibilities, it's Kash Patel and the FBI overstepping the Utah State Police. If anybody's potentially interfering with the investigation, it's Kash Patel and the FBI who are not allowing the Utah State Police to do an independent investigation. This is what I talked about last Sunday. This is what I talked about Sunday. You can't get so keyed in on a particular narrative that you're unwilling to examine any alternative. You have to, no matter what the issue is in your life, you have to be willing to investigate every alternative to come to the truth. And you have to be humble enough that if alternative facts arise, you are willing to change your mind. You have to. That has to be the beginning, middle, and end of your life. That has to be it. Because you have people out here doing our best to try to get to the bottom of this. And can I be honest for a second? And this may turn some of you off and maybe you'll never listen to me again. I was not a Charlie Kirk fan. I was not. I didn't like his style and I didn't trust him. I didn't trust him because there was too much money. Too much money. Most of you don't realize Charlie Kirk was worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. So were those around him. They were making a lot of money off TPUSA. Most of you people have no idea how much money was rolling through there, how many mansions, condos on the beach, and golf courses Charlie Kirk and others of TPUSA had. Most of you don't realize where TPUSA started. Most of you have never watched Charlie Kirk's first two interviews on Fox News when he was still in high school. Most of you don't know who Foster Freese is or Bill Montgomery. We'll go into all this because it's all relevant. It's all relevant. Most of you have never been around a political organization like this before. I have. Been around a lot of them. And I know how they recruit people. I know how they put people in positions of power. And I know that oftentimes the heads and the people that are getting rich off this are not at all leading the organization. They're said to lead the organization, but they're not. They're products. I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a business and you make widgets. You make widgets. And you start pumping out. You've come up with a really unique way to make widgets, and it's very, very, very profitable. It's very effective. And more people are starting to come into the widget business or buy your widgets, right? And you're just taking over the widget world. You've got retail locations. You've got fabrication facilities. You are the widget guy. You could compare this to someone like Bill Gates and what he did with operating software. You could compare this to Jeff Bezos and what he did with Amazon and online retail and web services. You could compare this with any number of people like that. Frankly, Elon and what he's done with rockets and electric cars. All of these guys have something in common. Without government contracts, they're nothing. Elon doesn't survive without the government contracts and the government breaks. Bill Gates may not survive if the government didn't mandate every of their millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of computers had to have Microsoft software. Bezos might not have survived if he wasn't the largest federal contractor that gets, I know he's the largest CIA contractor, I heard that, but the billions of dollars that come flowing in. That's what all of this is about. It's about cash. It's about money. Not Cash Patel, cash money. That's where this is going. That's what Charlie was. You guys remember, oh man, I'm going to step on some toes here. I'm not going to, should I say it? You remember Q? You remember Q? The QAnons and all that stuff? You know what that was? That was an operation to keep you guys sitting on the sidelines. That's all it was. An operation to keep you guys sitting on the sidelines. Sorry. I hate to break it to you because I know a lot of you invested a lot of time and energy into it, and some of you still do. It was an operation to keep you sitting on the sidelines. They didn't want you, they couldn't have 10, 20, 30 million diehard Trump fans ready to burn the country down in a moment's notice. It would cause economic chaos, and they would all lose billions, maybe trillions of dollars. Why you no trust? Q was fun. It was fun. It was a great little puzzle. Everybody had fun trying to figure. It was to keep you on the sidelines. It's all about money. There's a new crew. They've got new people in there that are guaranteeing that they'll get their money. And so if you believe for 1 second, Charlie Kirk, senior in high school, opening up something called, what was it called? SOS Liberty? Yeah, SOS Liberty. If you believe for 1 second Charlie Kirk opening a little thing with 2 or 3 of his high school buddies called SOS Liberty turned into this $100 million a year operation, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. That's not how this game works. You don't believe me? Go open what do they call those? Think tank. Go open a think tank. Go open a political action group. Just open it. Go around and try to get money. Try to get your money. See how much you make. See how many millionaires believe in you and back you. And Charlie was talented. Charlie was smart. There's no doubt about it. But you know what? He's a dime a dozen. Honestly. There are 100, maybe 1,000 people that could have done exactly what Charlie did, maybe better. It's the same way in Hollywood. You think Taylor Swift is really that smart? You think she's really that cute? She's a 6. She's a 6. Her lyrics are weird, dude. Her music is worse. Why do we pick Taylor Swift? Same reason we pick Charlie Kirk. Same reason we pick you insert name here. And that's what TPUSA was. It is brutal, and I'm sorry, but that's what TPUSA was. It was a psychological operation to keep people in the boat. To keep people in the boat. And it was worth millions of dollars annually to them, tens of millions of dollars annually to them, to keep you in the boat. To keep you in a window of thought that you're allowed to have in a nice safe space where they put borders around you, and so that you can feel like you're making a huge difference, but you're in their safe space. They have you blocked in. Get out of line, Charlie will come after you. Don't believe me? Did you see the Charlie Kirk text messages that were released by Dinesh D'Souza? Did you see them? Watch. Here's what happens. Here's what I'm talking about. Here's the box. Here's the box. You ready for this? Here's your box. This is Charlie Kirk and Dinesh D'Souza. Dinesh is the blue. Charlie is the gray. What are they arguing about? Platforming Nick Fuentes. This is Charlie speaking. You have no idea the damage you did by talking to him and complimenting him. You're making him even bigger. We've been fighting this guy for 6 years. Who's we? Who's we? Charlie didn't say, I've been fighting this guy for 6 years, because Charlie's a product. Charlie's a product. Charlie's saying, we've been fighting this guy. Talking Points USA's been fighting this guy. Talking Points donors have been fighting this guy. The movement that Talking Points is trying to control has been fighting this guy for 6 years. And you're the first mainstream voice to debate and give him a compliment, which makes him bigger and more powerful. You, Dinesh, left the plantation. You went against us. This is like a mafia tactic, guys. We told you how to behave, and you didn't follow the rules. Charlie goes on. This was a massive mistake that you did this. He's vermin, and you just gave him one of the biggest boosts of his career. A vermin. Charlie was a Christian. Calling a human being vermin? As if he's not a human? That doesn't sound like the gospel Charlie was preaching under all those tents, does it? Guys, I can't express this to you enough. That's how this game is played. You know what they saw in Charlie? He's smart, and we have him by the nuts. He's loyal. He'll never stray. He'll never stray. That's what they believed. Now imagine their dismay. They spend 10, 15 years building this product. You've got that widget machine down so good. You've got the best widgets that the world has ever seen. And then one day, the guy running the plant has stolen your machines. He's stolen your ideas. He's given them to your arch enemy. Acme Widgets. Acme Widgets on the other side of the town. Now they're building your quality widgets, and no one wants your widgets anymore because they didn't invest all the money. They didn't invest all the time. They didn't invest all the capital in your widget process. They got it for free. You paid tens of millions of dollars for widgets. You paid tens of millions, over $100 million you put in to widgets so that you had the best widgets the world has ever seen. And now someone on the other side of town is making those widgets, and they didn't put any of that investment into it. That's what happened to Charlie. How mad would you be at your general manager? Your general manager is now working on the other side of town. You didn't make him sign a non-compete. You didn't have to. You thought he'd never leave. And now he's on the other side of town making your widgets at your competitor's company, putting you out of business and threatening your entire enterprise. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the story of why Charlie Kirk is dead. That's the story for why Charlie Kirk is dead. That's the story for why Andrew Colvett sent those text messages to the feds in the immediate aftermath. In the immediate aftermath of Charlie Kirk being assassinated. You know why? He knew. He knew. He'd been around the game. He was brought in. He's no teams, only players. Andrew Colvett is a player. He knows the game. He knows exactly what happened, which is why I'm disgusted with his performance on that podcast. Which is why I'm disgusted with the fact that he's acting like people like Candace Owens and Ryan Matta and Ian Carroll and Bay Sam Parker and Baron Coleman are asking any questions whatsoever about what happened to Charlie Kirk. That's how this game is played. That's how every single political organization you've ever followed is played. That's how the Tea Party was played. That's how MoveOn.org was played. That's how Media Matters is played. That's how Promise Keepers was played. They don't care about you. They don't care about you. They care that you vote for the right person and you don't cause too much trouble while you give your hard-earned money over to them. That's all they care about. That's all they care about. And Charlie Kirk was a tool of that machine. He was the general manager of a widget plant. And he's sending text messages right before he happens to be offed. He's sending text messages saying, I'm taking your widget plans and I'm going to work for Acme Widget on the other side of town. So I hope you enjoy your little enterprise, your little widget factory falling down around you. I hope you enjoy that. That's how this works. If you don't believe me, if you think this is organic, go start a movement. Go start one. See what happens. If you're any good, if you have any talent whatsoever, Candace was right. You'll end up with people approaching you. I can help you. I can get you some money. Notice when Charlie started Turning Point USA, it wasn't a religious organization. There was no church component to it. It was economic liberty. It was libertarianism. It was like von Mises Institute almost, but for college kids. That's what it was. It wasn't this right-wing dispensationalist, conservative, fundamental Christian organization. That's not what it was. You know how I know that? I've gone back on archive.org and I've looked up TPUSA.com. And I've gone back and I've looked at all the screen caps that they have captured over the years of TPUSA.com. Do it. I guarantee you'll look at it differently. You only remember, we have this recency bias. This is a social psychology phenomenon. We have this recency bias that gets down in our soul. And we view Talking Points USA as this pseudo-religious organization, this faith-based organization. It did not start that way, ladies and gentlemen. It did not start that way. It started in the middle of the Obama administration. It started in the middle of the Tea Party movement. As the Tea Party movement was waning and college kids didn't seem to be particularly interested in Tea Party politics. And so it was, how can we make economic liberty exciting and fun for college kids? We've got an idea. We know we need to do that. How do we do it? The religious stuff came later. The religious stuff came later. The religious stuff came 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years after that. You don't have to believe O'Barron. You don't have to believe me. Go to archive.org. Go to archive.org and punch in tpusa.com and go back and look at their old websites. You can look at it for years. Go look at Charlie's early appearances on Fox News. He doesn't talk about Christ. He doesn't talk about the church. He talks about economic liberty and how to make it exciting for college people. I'm not wrong. I see your comments. I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong about any of it. I don't say things just to say things. I have facts. But that's how this game works. That's how David Horowitz's game works. That's how Prager's game works. That's how you insert name of political organization here. That's how it works. Now, you're given options. Sure, we'll give you some options. But it's the same game. It's the same teams. That's what happened. You want to know why Charlie Kirk is dead? Not because some guy from South Utah had had enough, and 10 days before he found out that Charlie Kirk was coming to town, he's going to go impress his furry friend. No, that's not why Charlie Kirk is dead. That is not why Charlie Kirk is dead. Charlie Kirk is dead. Charlie Kirk is dead because his general manager, the general manager of the widget store, Charlie was the general manager, was going across town to sell widgets for someone else. And they had invested hundreds of millions of dollars in that general manager. That's why he's dead. That's why he's dead. Let me get to some of your super chats here. If we have time after that, I will continue going. Got to figure out where I left off. I think this was it. Laura Loves 1214. Thank you, Baron. Keep exposing these creeps. Trying. Oh yeah, sorry. Ian Carroll, thank you. $20. The Neff scandal you told us to look into is wild. Thanks for the tip, Baron. Ian, that's your kind of content. Don't say I never offered you anything. If you want to ever collaborate on something, email me. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. I'd be happy to talk to you. If I hear one more, the mighty, the hero, Mikey McCoy, I'm going to puke. Same. Absolutely the same, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely the same. The fact that they're gassing this guy up like that, is awfully telling to me that something's not right with that story. Oh, the amazing Mikey McCoy. I'm sorry. Mary Sunshine. I should have said your name. I am a Cylon. I am a Celon. Have you searched trends for TPUS events before and after UVU? Would show motive and planning if they stop at UVU. We know his tour schedule. Hey, that's a good question. I know Candace pointed out that he was having a second event in Utah, which she found odd. I've not searched historical tours to see if that is in fact odd. Charlie Kirk is not dead. This is one big psyop. Come on. I refuse to believe that. Research. Now, if I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong because he's a 31-year-old man. He's a human being. I hope he didn't get slaughtered in broad daylight in front of 3,000 people. Almost as many people as on this live stream as we speak. Thank you, Nathaniel Sander, for that comment. Wayne Burdett, 305 in pounds. Oh, no. Pounds. Research Jody Reynosa, journalist who interviewed witnesses who saw Tyler Robinson at scene, journal note for promoting PSYOPs, big influencer in secret space program circles. She's also a real estate agent. I don't know how the real estate industry is connected to all that. All that sounded really exciting, and then you told me she's like a boring housewife that needs a second job. That's all I heard. That's all I saw. Thanks, Wayne. Mad World, $10. The first Charlie show after he was assassinated, Tucker was trying to talk to Blake about how Neff was found by Charlie, but Colvette kept trying to steer him away from talking about it. I get that. Look, I'm not saying Colvette's a horrible human being. That's what you would do for a friend. You would try to stop him from being embarrassed on your own show. That doesn't surprise me. $5, Gaelic gal, thank you. No, that's not dollars. £5. I don't know what the $4 maybe. Vid 7872, $5. Co said. Candace Owens said Charlie Kirk had a Catholic funeral mass. Is that true? How would she know? That's only for confirmed Catholics. It's problematic because Catholics are not Zionists. Oh, I know what you're saying. We need receipts. Yeah, that would be pretty remarkable. I don't know that your statement is only for confirmed Catholics. I don't know that that's entirely true. I need to check on that. Yeah, I need to check on that. That sounds like merely ecclesiastical law that could be set aside for extraordinary purposes. Amber Rourke, 7638, $5. Anyone heard the recording of operators about the doctor signed off on death certificate without autopsy and someone fleeing plane where he should go? Yeah. I did hear, or I saw maybe on X, somebody said the name, or was it Candace that said the name? Somebody said the name of the Dr. Trotter. I think his name, Lee Trotter. I think he was on my original list. Of docs that were searched overseas in the mid-July, that crucial 2 weeks in middle of July. Face value OG, $10. We need to keep paying taxes to the federal government. They represent us and have our best interests in mind. Taxation is freedom. I don't know. Look. Yes, we need to keep paying tax. I am not a traditional libertarian, right? You're if that's what you're looking for, you're in the wrong place. I like my federal government. I don't like as big as it is, and I wish it was about 1/10 of the size it is. I don't love my standing army as long as it is. I wish our military budget was about a third of what it is. I don't love the printing press. I wish we had some sort of commodity-backed currency. I think it would be good for America. I wish we ran more balanced budgets. I wish we had fewer people on welfare. Like, I'm a traditional conservative when it comes to that stuff for the most part. But if what you're saying is we should never pay taxes, that's ludicrous. I mean, I like living in the United States of America, and I like the fact that we have a military that would defend us in times of trauma, and that costs money. $2. Why are you avoiding the topic of Rick Cutler? Because I don't know what to make of it. Because I don't know what to make of it, and unless I have a sneaking suspicion or I have some legitimate questions to raise, I'm not going to raise the guy's name. I saw one picture that made me question the whole Cutler narrative. Let me see if I can find it real fast. I saw one picture that really made me question the Cutler narrative. Where was it? Oh, I know what it was. It was had the word Charlie in it. Was it Charlie? Does it start with Charlie? No, it was like Justice for Charlie, maybe. Truth for Charlie, maybe. What was the website? There it is. Let me show you my one picture here. Someone gave me this. And I'll show you the one picture that made me go, here it is. So this is the one picture that has me thinking weird things about Rick Cutler. And I don't know, maybe it's Photoshopped. Maybe it's Photoshopped. But what is that? What is that thing in his hand? You see what I'm talking about? You see it? That thing. What is that thing he's holding? Now, that might just be a pin. That could just be a pin. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what to make of Rick Cutler. Do I think he shot Charlie in the neck with a palm gun? No, I don't. I don't at all. Do I think he pulled some trigger that was zapping Charlie, detonating some explosive? No. So what am I supposed to say about him? If you have evidence to the contrary, tell me. But don't send me the grainy footage that everybody's passing around saying it looks like he's shooting a palm gun. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. He would be the deadliest marksman ever. If he can hit that shot that quickly, unbelievable. I just don't believe it. So I don't know what to make of him. Your work is amazing. So is Ian's. Vote everyone. Thank you. Thank you. I will say I owe a massive debt of gratitude for the way Ian promoted this program over the last couple of weeks or week or whatever, however long he's been doing it. I owe a massive debt of gratitude to him because that is so kind, so kind. His show is great. The only reason I knew he did it was because I tune into his show regularly, and particularly on Fridays. I love his Friday show. I was tuning in as I was going to get some gas. In fact, I told my wife, she said, I need gas before I leave in the morning. She was going somewhere in the morning. I said, please let me go get the gas. The only reason I did is because I knew Ian's show was coming on in like 5 minutes and I wanted to watch it live. So I said, let me go. I'll go get the gas. And I tuned in and he's talking about me. It was amazing. He was great. Thank you, Patriot over 50. Gene Sweeney, super sticker, $2.99. Thank you. Ashley Lawler, $4.99. Huntsville, Alabama looked up Phil Lyman's company address on July 20th. That's weird. That's that July 20th date. I don't know what Phil Lyman's company address is. I don't even know what his company is. Is he a consultant of some sort? That's weird. Thank you. See, this is what I like. Decentralized research. Now, Ashley, you don't have to send any more money, but I just need to know. Don't send any more money because I don't want to not get it and then you feel like you wasted your money. But did you use quotes around the address? Because that changes everything. If you don't use the quotes, if you don't really dial in the date, it does change things, and sometimes you get some noise instead of signal. So I want to make sure that as you guys are doing this, let me know. Trump instructs Department of War to begin immediate nuclear weapon testing, citing other countries' programs. Okay. I don't love nuclear weapons. I'm a little bit of a pacifist at heart, but that's why we have elections. If he wants to test nukes and he thinks they have a good reason to do it, it's his business. I got to look it up. I don't know what IDR is. Is this IDR currency? What is that? Indonesian rupiah. How much is 2 million? Is it 200,000? Okay. $12. Bringing the big sacks of rupees. Thank you. Thank you. That was very kind of you. The Lily Rab connection. Jack Hibbs did a Facebook Live the day Charlie died, questioning how Israel knew before American outlets. I think he said an Israeli contact called him. I would love to watch that. Could you please email that to me at realbaronpodcast@gmail.com? It's not that I doubt your word. Before I report something like that, I got to see it. Talk about embarrassing the family name. I'm taking a direct hit. Scott, baby, buddy, the Hatfields did that to you 2 centuries ago. That's not your fault. That's not your fault at all. Neoma Portal for the chat. Erica's response isn't inappropriate. It's faith. No one knows what her life looks like off camera. Y'all confuse peace from surrendering to God's plan with celebration of death prayers. Did you hear me last time? And if not, I want everyone to hear me. You'll never see me attack a grieving widow or even question a grieving widow, unless you give me evidence. Unless you give me evidence. And the evidence cannot be her mascara didn't run. Well, maybe she tattooed the mascara on. I don't know. She wore big diamonds. She's rich. Big diamonds are beautiful. I wish we could all wear big diamonds. I wish De Beers would drop the price of diamonds by 90% so we could all enjoy the spoils. They look great, particularly on women. Again, this is like Rick Cutler. You have evidence? Show me evidence. Don't show me a grainy footage of a widow grieving. Don't show me that. That's not evidence. What are the odds some of these characters are going to end up in car accidents or unalived? Thanks for all you do. I hope I'm not among them. I'm not suicidal. I drive carefully. I've got a car that is relatively new. It's not going to blow up. Thank you. Fox 13 Utah did a story on 1027. Thank you, Ms. Tizigby. Fox TM. What? Where do you guys get these names? Fox 13 did a Utah story on October 27 that showed the request to hold the event at UVU was made at 10:08 a.m. July 2025. July what 2025? Hold, please. I'm taking a picture of this comment so I don't have to scroll back through the feed and find it. That's weird. All right. I'll be looking into that one because that July 20 date is too weird to me. I am really weirded out by July 20 of 2025 and the week on either side of it. Really, really weirded out. If that's true, I want to know who made the request. I want to know who sent the email. I want to know who was in the boardroom. Do you have notes from the meeting, talking points? Do you have notes from the meeting? Can you show me whose idea that was? Erica Kirk? Can you find out who suggested it if it was in mid-July 2025? Because that's weird. Thank you, Ms. Dzigzib. Thank you, Tim Jugudovizu. Ian Carroll Show. Thank you, Ian. $20. Can't wait to watch your analysis of Bill Montgomery and his boy Stapleton setting it all up. Foster Freeze pumping in the early money. 501c3 and C4 sketchiness. Stoked to hear your perspective on all of it. I've got mounds of research, Ian. I'm just not ready to roll with it yet. I am researching in the background, my friend. Researching in the background. I did not go on the rant I went on today without some basis. Thank you, Ian. Mad World, $2. Can you tell who are the picks behind you? Sure. Teddy Roosevelt, the greatest president who ever lived. And if you talk bad about Teddy Roosevelt, defriend me. I love Teddy Roosevelt. The man got shot and finished his speech. The man next to him got shot, did not finish his speech. That's Donald Trump, mid-30s, standing outside of Trump Tower. To the right, Andrew Jackson, the one who made Trump and Roosevelt possible. Jackson showed that Jacksonian democracy was a possibility. Showed that it was a possibility. Now, if you have not read your history on any of those three guys, they're basically I'll get to the rest of them in a second, but hold on. Those three people are once in a lifetime presidents, once in a century presidents. Now, I have my disputes with things all three of them did, the Donald included. I do. Deep, abiding disputes. But nobody can question that they're cut from the same mold and they were essential men of their time. Essential men of their time. That but for Andrew Jackson being president, the United States as you know it does not exist. But for Teddy Roosevelt being president when he was, the United States as you know it does not exist. But for Donald Trump being president when he was, the United States that you know it would not exist now and will not exist in the future. Those three were so fundamentally critical to the United States being what we know it is. All three were shot, by the way. Starting to the left, that's Joe McCarthy, one of the greatest Americans who ever lived. Joe McCarthy, I don't know how he stood up out of a chair. He was so heavy between the legs. I don't want to have to dig the book out. I'll get it. Hang on. This book right here is must read. I don't have a book club because I don't have enough people, enough followers or whatever. But if I did, this would be the first book we read. Blacklisted by History. Blacklisted by History. If you think you know anything about the United States of America and have not read this book, you don't know anything about the United States of America in the 20th century. Blacklisted by History. This book is the vindication of that man on that wall right there, Joe McCarthy. We know about McCarthyism. Oh, it's supposed to be evil. Oh, that means you're accusing people without evidence. Bubkus. Read Blacklisted by History. Get on Amazon tonight and order a copy. You want a hard copy in your house. It's that good. You'll read it time and time again. This is not something you want to scroll on your phone and then notifications will pop up. You're going to want your undivided attention on this book. Blacklisted by History. Joe McCarthy was one of the greatest Americans that ever lived. And I believe he was getting information directly from the Venona cables, probably through J. Edgar Hoover. The Venona cables, if you don't know about it, it's in the book, Blacklisted by History. It is vindication for everything Joe McCarthy said. It was a secret cable that we were intercepting from the Soviets that they didn't know about. They didn't know we were intercepting it in real time. And the people intercepting it had a decision to make. Do I publicize that we're intercepting this and lose access to all that additional information? Or is it so important that we continue to get it that we have to try to act on it without disclosing our sources? Enter that hero and that patriot right there who sought to stop the scourge of communism and the takeover of the United States by himself, basically. Read the book. Order the book. Blacklisted by History. It's written by a guy named Stanton Evans, doing the Lord's work. Next to him, smoking the blunt, that's JFK. John F. Kennedy. You know what happened to him, right? Well, we don't know because Kash Patel and Pam Bondi won't release the damn documents. Donald Trump, who promised us he would release the documents, won't release the damn documents. So we don't know what happened to him. But we do know what happened to him, right? Don't we know? That's John F. Kennedy. Also shot. To the left is Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks is presented as a seamstress who just happened to not want to move her seat on a bus. No. Rosa Parks was a badass, a revolutionary. Rosa Parks looked the fight in the face and said, bring it. She knew what was going to happen to her. She knew what was going to happen to her, and she looked forward to it. She's not a seamstress. She's a fighter. She's a warrior. In the middle is Booker T. Washington. Little-known figure of history. Started the Tuskegee Institute in Tuskegee, Alabama. Critical to the Tuskegee Airmen story. But more importantly, a confidant, excuse me, of Teddy Roosevelt, and a man despised by his contemporary elitists because he dared believe that all men are created equal. And finally, Martin Luther King, that is in jail, looking out the cell. One of the greatest books is Letters from a Birmingham Jail. Letter from a Birmingham Jail. Read it. It's great. It's not terribly long. You read it, a couple of bathroom visits. The guy is in jail, access to no materials, and he's quoting Plato. He's quoting philosophers. He's quoting the Bible. He's quoting religion. Just quoting Aristotelian logic. And now, do you have to agree with everything any of these people said and did? No. No. Let me give you a better view of them up there. But were they all despised by the establishment? Yes. And that's why they're on the wall behind me. That's why they're on the wall behind me. July 18, 2025. Now, you didn't have to pay $2 for that. We would have found the story. But if that's true, I think that's a follow-up from this. Fox 13 Utah did a story on October 27 that showed the request to hold the event at UVU was made on July 18th, 2025. If that's true, that is such a massive development that I ought to give you your $2 back in 10 times as much. That is just, if that's true, that confirms a lot in my mind about what happened and who's responsible. A lot. Hypothetically, could a handler be a wife? Of course. It could also be a girlfriend in Nashville. Ashley Law, that was Kaylin Marie. Ashley Lawler, $9.99. Thank you. You don't need to waste our time with all the words when you just get right to the point. Carrie Ann Pearl, $2.60, $5. To extend on my first question, what's your thoughts on the squid blood box theory specifically? I don't think he used a squib. I think he was shot and killed. If this was not a live show, I would edit that. Act like I didn't say that. Scratch that. Could you strike that from the record, please? Thank you. Yes, beginning with I don't. Okay, yeah, that line. Thank you. I don't think it was a squib. I think he was wounded in the neck and he died. So that's my thought on it. I don't think it was a squib. I do think he was wounded in the neck and died. Face value OG, $5. The shoulder rubbing at high levels of financial and political power in this case is interesting. Erica Kirk, Trump, and their folks. Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, it may or may not mean something, but it's interesting. Adam Hill, $5. I have raw footage I received the day of September 10th that I think shows his lavalier microphone doing something. Need to get it to you. How do I send? The email is rolling at the bottom of the screen the whole time. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. You know why that's scrolling tonight? Because of how many people have stolen my content and just put it on TikTok and put it on Twitter. I don't care if you do it and credit me. I mean, it's good advertising, free advertising. But at least put my name in there, right? I don't steal people's content. Like if I steal something from Ian Carroll, I'm going to tell you. If I got the idea from Candace, I'm going to tell you. If Base Sand Parker put me on a story, I'm going to tell you. Now, sometimes you read something and you see it so many places, you don't remember where you read it first. You don't remember who was first. And so you just go with it. But, you know, if you're going to steal my stuff, that's fine. So I put the crawler on there. So if someone does steal it, they would have to be very intentional to cut that crawler out before putting it up. I'll know you're a bad actor. And if you don't, I get credit. So there you go. Yes, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com, Adam Hill. That's how you get it to me. And do get it to me, please. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. I get a lot of emails. I mean, way more than I ever imagined I would get. If you send it to me, will you put in the subject line, raw footage? Will you do that for me, Adam? Thank you. Tollgate build, $19.99. You have added some much needed energy to this case. I've never been accused of being low energy Jeb. No one has ever accused me of having Jeb Bush levels of energy. No, ma'am. No, man. All right. Ondria. Thank you for your reporting. St. Michael's protect us. Thank you. Absolutely. Maybe, yeah. Jolly Lollipop 1, poison dart theory, explore it. What am I exploring? The way Andrew Breitbart was killed with shrimp toxin? Is that what I'm, oh, should I have said that out loud? Open that can of worms. I feel bad for him. Andrew Breitbart created all this. Like, without Andrew Breitbart, I don't think there's a Candace. I don't think there's an Ian Carroll. I don't think there's maybe not a Charlie Kirk. I don't think there's I don't think Tucker has the platform he has now. Oh my gosh. The internet memes from the Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes interview were amazing. The memes alone were worth it. The clips where they clip like 4 seconds out of context. And you got Tucker's like, that's a lot of jerking off. Who needs church? We got Barron. You need church. Go to church. Find a church. I'll promote Catholicism, but you go where you need to go. Everyone has fallen short of the glory of God and needs redemption. Everyone. So go to church. But when you're not in church, you can come here. When you're not in church, you can come here. Holy mackerel bays. $99.99. Thank you. This wasn't an accident with the 9/11. This wasn't an accident with 9/11. Probably needed a period there. CIA was ordered not to tell FBI. John O'Neill of the FBI kept warning of the attacks, and they fired him. He got hired at the World Trade Center working security August 2001 and died saving people on 9/11. Bays declassified. It's on YouTube. Hey, let me say this. I think you're exactly right that 9/11 wasn't an accident. And again, I love promoting other people. Tucker Carlson's 5-part series on 9/11 is must view. In fact, everyone who takes a citizenship test should be required to view it. Everyone who graduates from high school in order to get a diploma should have to watch all 5 episodes. I think it's that important. I can't make adults, maybe in order to vote, you should have to watch it. And it starts with a simple narrative. John Brennan, former communist or maybe current communist, who would go on to lead the CIA one day, brings in known terrorists to California from overseas and doesn't tell anybody. Why? Oh, we were going to run a little honey trap and no. That's not how you play that game. You don't bring in dangerous people into the country knowingly on the off chance that they might attract other dangerous people so you can arrest more dangerous people. You stop the dangerous people from coming in. Period. End of story. If I'm walking around Los Angeles, I want to know I'm not going past a terrorist's apartment. And they put you in that situation if you lived in Los Angeles at the time. If I'm wandering around an airport, I want to make sure there's not dangerous terrorists in that airport with me. And they put you in that situation as they flew around the country once he let them in. If I get on an airplane, I want to make sure it's not going to land in a building. I should have that right. My government shouldn't put me in that position, and they put you in that position. John Brennan did in particular, and was rewarded with being the head of the CIA. I don't have words for it. So yeah, it was not an accident. The CIA was ordered not to tell the FBI. And the people who warned of the attacks were reprimanded. So what does that tell you? It gives you 2 options. Either the attacks were on purpose, planned and coordinated with our government, or our government is so inept and so incompetent they cannot be trusted to keep you safe. Ian Carroll Show, $5. You perfectly described the widget industry. The only solution is to stay independent. I've been approached by many such helpers. No, thank you. Wow. That's big news. But yeah, no, it's exactly right. Charlie Kirk was the manager of a widget factory that they'd invested hundreds of millions of dollars into. And Charlie Kirk was telling the owners who invested all that money into him and the widgets that I'm stealing your plans, I'm stealing your designs, and I'm going across town to Acme Widget, and we're going to do widgets without you. And we're going to make all the money. Except this time, it's not about money. It's about the heart and mind of the American voter. And they were not going to allow him to leave. And it's like the mafia. You can't just walk away. Once you've got handlers, you can't just walk away. EB girl, $5, follow the money. Who was losing or at risk to lose the most? Good question. Good question. $2, Charlie was an authentic person, was used by others. I don't know the answer to that question. And I know that's going to make some people mad. I don't know the answer to that question. I know Charlie had authentic moments, and I know Charlie was very smart, and I know Charlie probably believed what he said, but whether he was used by others or whether he was allowing himself to be used, in which case you're not being used. It's a deal you cut. It's a Faustian bargain. If he cuts a Faustian bargain, I mean, sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens. Snaphook Golf, $20. Love the dissection of all this information. Don't let up. Keep putting pressure on these evil bastards. You, Ian, Candace, would love to see a collaboration. Me too. That would be fun. I would collaborate with a lot of people right now. Not anyone, but a lot of. Not anyone. I'll say this. My show is for anyone, but it's not for everyone. I stole that line from Greg Glassman. That's not new. That's not unique to me. My show is for anyone, but it's not for everyone. Likewise, I would collaborate with a lot of people, but I've got to keep that in mind. Sometimes their show's not for everyone. And their anyone's don't line up with my anyone's. Snaggleton, $2. Thank you. Very kind. Winter Frenzel. I ought to not. You guys got to figure out how to spell my name. But I'm gonna let you pass because you paid money. Have you searched your own name prior to the CK event as well as the day you broke the Google Trend news? I don't think I have. Not in using any deal. I only have so much free time. Like, I have a job. I only get so many hours a day. I have a family. I coach baseball. I do other things. I mean, I coach CrossFit classes. Like, I do a lot of things. I only have so many hours a day to put into this. Now, if this ever became a full-time gig, maybe I would research my own name and a lot of other things. Snaggleton, $20. What about the doctors at the hospital? Were they paid off too? I'm suspicious too, but what did they have to say about his death? I don't know the answer to that, and I will not speculate. I will say that I know without a doubt some of their names were searched in advance of the event, and that's all I know. That's all I know. I make no claim whatsoever with respect to the doctors themselves. I just know the names that the doctors happened to share were searched. That's all I know. I don't know if they were looking for those particular doctors. Now, you can say, hey, they looked up like 7 or 8 of these doctors in a week. Yeah, they did. Back with more Indonesian cash, Jody. TPUSA co-founder searched in Israel and Cayman Islands in July and August, then changed on Wikipedia in September, 36 hours post-death of the only founder to say Rob McCoy was co-founder. Lie. Let me try to untangle that. Are you saying Rob McCoy was searched in Israel and the Cayman Islands in July and August, and that they changed his Wikipedia entry? I'm going by what Candace said today. Changed his Wikipedia entry changed the TPUSA Wikipedia entry after Charlie Kirk passed away to reflect that Rob McCoy was the co-founder of TPUSA Faith, when another section on the Wikipedia page suggests Charlie alone is the co-founder of TPUSA Faith. Yes, I agree with you. That all happened. Again, I don't know whether they were looking for Rob McCoy in the Cayman. I just know those words were searched next to each other because we did it with quote marks. Have we looked into who her parents are? Who's her? Oh, Erica Kirk? No, I've not looked. I don't mess with grieving widows. You have to bring the information to me. I'm not going digging around with a grieving widow. If you bring me information that's interesting or intriguing, I'll look at it. RealBaronPodcast@gmail.com. V-Gray, Vatican has Intel department. Check Google Trends for them. There's only like 25 people that live there, isn't there? Kind of a boring one. Man, I'll look. I'll commit. I'll throw Vatican in there as I flip around the world. Smoky Mountain Kitty, $5. Anyone notice the feed on X has 80% less Charlie Kirk footage, etc. The day after the memorial, it was all Erica. The feed changed completely. I didn't notice that. Now, I know the X feed is going through a lot of algorithmic changes. Elon is a wreck trying to keep it up. Some days my algorithmic feed looks like I'm Benjamin Netanyahu scrolling. And some days it looks like I'm Adolf Hitler scrolling. And some days it looks like I'm like Javier Molina or something. Like all I get are baseball feeds, and I don't follow anyone on X. I don't follow a single person. I have no idea how they decide what they're going to show me. And maybe they don't. Maybe that's the problem. Like every day it changes. And I look, I think, where is this stuff coming from? I get a lot of like astronomy stuff. I think because I did follow NASA for like 1 hour. Just because they give you a list. They say pick one. They won't let you continue until you pick one. No, I hadn't noticed that. Brave the Storm, $2. Is your doc of search results viewable to the public? It is not, because there's a lot of stuff in there I don't want people running with that and drawing the wrong conclusion. That's why. In case you forgot, those were tea bags from Charlie's Mint Majesty Tea, not micro. Buddy, I told you I don't know. I don't know why you're hooked on this. I never understand why people get hooked on things. I'll show you what he's talking about for those that missed the show. Those that missed the show on, what day was that? Sunday. After the show, or after Charlie Kirk was swept away, somebody took a picture of a table. On that table, I just don't want people to be lost and think this guy's nuts, because I don't think he's nuts. He's accurately correcting me, I think. I mean, it's very well could be teabag. I don't care. I didn't say, look at the microchip explosive. I said, what's that look like to you? That's all I said. What does that look like to you? I can't find it. You can go back and watch the show on Sunday. I did raise that at some point. I don't know where it is. I wish I could find it. But I did ask, does this look like to you? And I pulled up a picture of the guts of the microphone and said, do these look the same? And the color pattern matched. That's the only reason I raised the issue. The color pattern matched. I don't care. Matless X, someone tried to shoot Andrew Jackson also. I said that, but the gun jammed. Well, he was also shot other than that time. Jackson ended up beating the guy with his cane. That's correct. I think the guy pulled out 2 guns that both jammed, if I'm not mistaken. Cool story. Mike Stewart, 999, keep it up. Thank you. I will. Jolly Lollipop, Joe McCarthy was an alcoholic. Yeah, you would be too if they treated you like that. Imagine, Mr. Pop, Jolly Lolly, Mr. Pop. Imagine, Mr. Pop, that popism is a thing. I know your name's not Jolly Lollipop. Let's say your name is Mike Stevenson. And there's something now called Stevensonism. And Stevensonism means you're just destroying people's characters. You're violating scriptural tenets. You're murdering people's character day in and day out with no evidence. Imagine that's what Stevensonism means. You might drink too. I don't drink anymore, so I can't relate. A person, Mary J. Person is not baptized Catholic a person not baptized Catholic can have a Catholic funeral under certain circumstances. I thought that might be the case. I did hear that. James Bowen, 1741, $2. Thank you. Angel Amotis, $10. God bless you and your family. Any comment on 1998 movie Snake Eyes? I find it very interesting, the main character. I don't think they were planning. It's fascinating, frankly. He's exactly right. Guy named Charlie Kirkland, shot in the neck, I think by an assassin named Tyler on the same day. That's fascinating to me. Maybe there's a wrinkle in the Matrix. I don't think they were planning the Charlie Kirk assassination in 1998 when Charlie Kirk was 5. That's all I can say. It's weird. It's weird. A lot of weird things. But I do think they do predictive programming. What was the most popular movie in 1987? What won the Academy Award? I think I'm right about this. Let me look it up. What movie won the Academy Award for Best Picture in 1987? Best Picture. It is... No, I was wrong. It was Platoon. That's not the movie I was thinking of. I was thinking of another movie. Maybe it was 1988. Academy Awards won... Yes. 1989. Best Actor, Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, Best Original Score, Best Cinematography, Best Film Editing, Best Production Design. 8 Academy Awards. Anyone want to guess what it was? I'll give you a hint. At the time, you didn't know the condition existed. Many of you had never heard of it before. We were all introduced to autism by a guy named Raymond in a movie called Rain Man. I was 10 years old at the time. I loved Rain Man. Watched it over and over and over. He was a hero. He was fascinating. And autism, if the only thing you knew about it was the movie Rain Man, was like a superpower, man. You could count matchsticks that fall on the ground. You could count cards, make money, say weird things, sure. Like autism was amazing after Rain Man. It happened to be 2 or 3 years after Ronald Reagan signed the vaccine bill, giving immunity to vaccine manufacturers. So maybe they saw something coming. I don't know. But I don't think Charlie Kirk's death was foreseen when he was 5. Jamie Abbott, $4.99. I don't know if it's just me, but I got behind you in your live, and now it just keeps pausing on ads. I feel really, really weird just saying. I can turn them down, I think. I don't know. It just says turn on, turn off. Sorry. Am I a fellow Bitcoiner? I got out of the Bitcoin game. When did I get out? 2021-ish. Remember when it went to 66,000 and it started falling down and got into the 50s? I got out of the game then. Now, what I did have, I found an old account when Bitcoin was like $1,200 or $1,400. I used to have a client who would only pay in Bitcoin years and years and years ago. And I would convert it to cash because I thought, what in the world is this stuff? And it was like when it was $1,000 to $1,400. I wish I kept it all because he'd pay me with like 10 Bitcoin at a time. But I would convert it to cash. But you know what sweepings are? Like the little Satoshis at the end. I would just do like 3 or 4 decimals in, and I wouldn't do those last 3 or 4. And so I built up a whole bunch of 3s and 4s decimal things, and I looked one day and it was worth like $2,500. At the time, it was probably worth like $1. So no, I'm not a fellow Bitcoiner. I believe Bitcoin will go to 0. Maybe it won't. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I'll miss out on the new money. I don't know. I'm willing to miss that boat. Mr. PG Whitaker, $5. Please address the drone flying out of the vent. I don't think a drone flew out of the vent above Charlie's tent. I don't think a drone flew out of the vent. I would love to address it, but I don't think it happened. Could have been a bird. Could have been a bug. Could have been an artifact in the video. But I don't think that vent opened. In fact, I saw somebody doing a video like kicking at it, like hanging off the side, kicking at it. Some of those videos that people did at UVU have like 8 views. I don't know how people didn't. I mean, I've saw as many as I could. TPUSA didn't release the date and time of the TPUSA event until no, that's not true. They first announced it in late August, like August 27, on their website, and then it was announced, I think, on their social media maybe early September 1 or 2. So that's inaccurate. And I do have the archive to prove it. James Bowen, $10. Another once in history president was James K. Polk from right here in Central Tennessee, from Columbia, Tennessee, who was greatly influenced by Andrew Jackson because they're locals, they're friends, buddies, pals. He acquired 40% of the contiguous U.S. during his 4-year presidency. Excellent book, Robert Mary. James K. Polk, the author, I believe, of Manifest Destiny, is the reason we don't have a huge chunk of Canada. That was about the time of the 54-40-year fight. You remember that? 54-40-year fight. We were going to take Canada like way up north. And Polk was like, why are we going up there when we can just go to the Pacific Ocean? There's a really cool book called Blood and Thunder. It's about the westward expansion during Manifest Destiny. It follows a particular character, Kit Carson, not the dime store novel Kit Carson. That's why it's called Blood and Thunder, because those dime store novels were called Blood and Thunder novels. But Kit Carson is the focus of this, and it talks about particularly the Navajo, the conquering of the Navajo, and the way they conquered is really horrific. So have a tissue handy if you Manifest Destiny. Yes, Polk is a hero, once in a history president, and he did get us to the Pacific, but it was a very, very disastrous for the people who lived in the way of our goals. And that's a cool book about it, though. It follows Kit Carson down the Bozeman, the Santa Fe Trail, and then pushing westward from there. But it follows the meetups and all that kind of stuff with the trappers. He was a beaver trapper. It has a really, spoiler alert, he dies, has a really tear-jerking section about his death. Blood and Thunder, good book. Bronson for 9/11 Truths, The Empire Unmasked by Rye Dawson. I'll check it out. I don't know much about it. I've never heard of it. Empire Unmasked. Is that a video or is it a book? Ian Carroll Show, agree with Bronson. Empire Unmasked is legendary piece of content. It's like 3 hours long, if I remember correctly. Sounds like a video. I'll be happy to watch it if it's legendary. Thank you, Ian, for that. First listen since 93.1. Great show. Hey, you go way back. I started on 93.1 in 2014. J.M. Frazier. Do I know you, J.M. Frazier? Everyone needs to read Dr. Judy Wood's book, Where Did the Towers Go? Dues and Skyscrapers Turn to Dust. Just going to leave this here. MES on YT. I think a lot of you think I'm either smarter than I am or at least understand jargon more than I do. I don't know what any of that means. But thank you for the $4.99. Sonny G. Kilirabon, $10. Awesome job. Love your style. I'm a former investigative journalist. 12 years. Murrow, DuPont, Emmys. Would love to team up. IG is my main social. Kalir. Well, email. Hope you consider collaborating. Thank you, Kilirabon. I'll be happy to talk to you. realbearingpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for the $10. Pamela Bailey. I started watching you 5 weeks ago. Somebody asked you if this was your job, and you said, no, I do this for fun. That was well over 34,000 followers ago. How are you going to entertain us after you crack this case? Pamela, I am a barrel of fun. I can make any story fun. I'm also very humble. Very humble. I could go back through my Vegas stuff. That was fun. I'm working on a Butler, Pennsylvania show that could get me killed, so I may not do it. But, man, there's always stuff to investigate. Hell, I got something today out of Butler, Alabama, where there was a guy that, well, I don't want to go into it, but there was some news out of Alabama today, and I did some Google trend searches for the names and addresses. Lo and behold, I mean, there's always something to talk about, Pamela. So settle in, buckle your safety harness. I hope it has at least 3 points, maybe 5. Here's $5 toward doing this full time. Thank you, David Barnacastle Jr. I hope you're here when we have 1 million followers. Steelers Girl, $9.99. I'm just here because you crack me up. Life is Driving video. You try to shut that guy up for 2 seconds. He had me rolling on the floor in just laughter. He had me rolling on the floor in laughter. I don't go back and watch a lot of these shows. I went back and watched that interview in particular. I thought it would be painful to watch. It was hilarious. Like I was in tears laughing. That was fun. Gemma Hollings, $27.57, $10. What would be the point in Mikey asking his dad to pray for Charlie to be okay when selfie camera guy was so sure he was already dead? This is horrible, horrible. Agreed, it's horrible, horrible. Any death is horrible, horrible. Any death. It's horrible what happened to him. The fact that he was shot in the neck in broad daylight, just trying to tell people about the gospel, just trying to tell people about freedom and liberty. It's horrible. It does not get worse than that. Well, I mean, it does, but let's be hyperbolic and say it doesn't get worse than that. I don't know how he was so sure he died. That's weird as hell. Let's just be honest. Monster Mom, $5 posting video off Cutler, counting down on his hand signal. Now here, okay, to my ex account. I've seen this video, but he only gets to 3 or 4. He goes 5, 4. I want to see the 3, 2, and 1, because if you give me those, now we're covering Rick Cutler full time. Now, if you give me 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then he's shot on the minute, I might believe the palm gun. I don't know. Probably not, but I don't know. I'm working on another theory on where a shot might have come from if it was not local. I'm working on another theory on that. Someone on my email gave me a good starting point to start looking. If you let me say this before. If you remember the radio, there was somebody talking about somebody near the library. Well, on that side of the library is near where the parking garage is. Now, my theory originally was somebody scaled the parking garage, came all the way across to the Sorensen Center, got kind of hidden behind the trees perhaps, and got a good crack through the leaves. So that's still like my favorite theory. But I got another theory I'm working on because there's 2 other high points farther back. Now, the crack thump won't work with a standard rifle, but with a highly enriched round, all of a sudden those distances come into play at the 4200ths or 4700ths of a second between the crack and the thump. Because your bullet is traveling not at 22 or 2400 or 2800 feet per second. It's traveling at 4900 feet per second. It's a much smaller grain bullet. I'm working through that. No, hey, trust me, guys. There's content for days. Content for days. How do I feel about other UAVs? I've not been convinced yet there were UAVs. I've not been convinced yet there were UAVs. I am very aware of what John Cullen was talking about with the plane that slowed down to a near stall speed flying the MINs. I'm aware of that. But I don't know whether they were dropping off drones or not. I don't know. I've seen no sound evidence of drones. I've seen a lot of things that could look like drones, maybe. Hi, Baron. Dirk Kirschner, President Field, whatever. Thank you for your Canadian money. Hi, Baron. We appreciate you very much. Why did your name come up on the Cayman Island search? I've told you, I am not a believer in the Cayman Island search. I did that live because someone asked me to, and they paid $5. So I did the Cayman Island search. Also, we sent you an email. Be happy for you to. I'll read it. I've read every email that's come to me so far. Every single email I've read. I've not responded to very many of them. But do know I appreciate it. I've read it, and I've acted on many of them because you'll give me an idea. I just don't. If I commit to starting to reply to some, it's like an Academy Award speech. If you reply to some, you feel like you got to reply to all. And then it gets unbelievably difficult to do that. So that's tough. But I said I did the Cayman Island search the first time, and then I came back later and said I wouldn't have gone with that, but I did it live, kind of like the Elizabeth McCoy thing, which I'm kind of glad I did tonight. I probably wouldn't have gone. I would not have gone live with the Cayman Islands. There's too much noise. You cannot isolate signal from all that noise. Something's going on in the Cayman Islands where they're searching a tremendous amount of stuff. I went through my phone book on my phone, and like 93% of the names I put in came back. So I don't know why my name's in there. Something's happening in the Cayman Islands, and I would never have done that, but we did it live, and it was a whole lot of fun. I made a funny face. I went back and watched that part. Good question. Thanks for the cash. Dave S. Pittsburgh, check movement on camera in back of tent as shot rings out and immediately something small and black falls from it. I've seen that. I thought it was a bug. If it's a shell casing, I need to see more evidence. Ryan Dawson has been CIA all his life. I need to know who that is. Who's Ryan Dawson? Should I know that? A native, Cape Hatteras native, Ryan Dawson. I don't know who he is. I've never heard of him. I wasn't complaining. Jamie Abbott, $4.99. I wasn't complaining. Maybe it's only my connection. It seems as if something is interfering with the stream. Maybe not. Appreciate your work. Thank you, Jamie. You don't have to pay again for that. But thank you. I appreciate it. It makes doing this easier. Goose and the Esky Boxers. $9.99. It keeps replaying in my mind that the guys who did ran to Charlie after the shot ran out, intentionally did not help him or took little chance of surviving for the. I pulled your comment down because I wasn't sure what your avatar was. And I don't see it before I put it up. That's the problem. It keeps replaying in my mind that the guys who did ran to Charlie after the shot ran out intentionally did not help him or took little chance. I don't know. I don't know what they did back there. I don't have a good view. If we could see the video that Terrell has from behind, I think that might give us some. Or if we could see the Google glasses or the Facebook Meta glasses that Dan was wearing, that would be helpful. But I don't know. I can't see behind that table. Oh, speaking of the table. Oh, do I cover this tonight or do I wait? I'm going to wait. I'm working on another theory. It involves Charlie's position under the tent. I don't want to spoil it all in one night. We're 2.5 hours deep already, and I'm sure I'm already in trouble. But I want to get through these supers. I promise you I will. I'm working on another theory, though. And this is a good one. I'll give you a hint. In order for my theory to be successful on an alternate shot location from further off towards the library, Charlie would have to be elevated. Historically, he was not elevated. He sat below the tables on the ground. The chair would be on the ground. At UVU, he was way elevated. That's your hint. You can do your own research and help me out and send me some stuff at realbeerandpodcast@gmail.com. Who is Ehud Sneerson? Why was he on the TPUSA board following the shooting and now scrubbed along with many others? I don't know who that is. Never heard of him. I'll go back and compare. We got archives. Yeah, the thing about the internet is you can't scrub. Well, I mean, I've seen it actually. Doesn't happen often. But archive.org usually snapshots websites, and it's there. It's there forever. I have some old websites that are embarrassing. They're such poor content. I was blogging back in like 2003, 4, 5, and they're still up on archive. And I wish they would take them down. I keep waiting for them to say, all right, we're getting rid of everything over 20 years old. That would be nice. Steelers Girl is right. TPUSA announced on August 27th that Kirk would visit UVU, but publicly it was announced by, yeah, okay. That's different, though. But as long as it was announced, then in theory, anyone could have heard it. Thank you for the donation, simply sharing info. Matless X, $5. Candace Owens may end up like Dorothy Kilgallen of What's My Line if she continues with her investigative works on CK, Charlie Kirk, Macron's wife, Epstein, etc. Yeah, I think she's safe. She's fine. She's high enough profile that it would be foolish to do something to her. Gemma Hollings, 2757, 5 pounds. Your selfie camera guy says on the video, God help him, he's dead. It's such disingenuous behavior. I agree. That is one of the worst videos I've ever seen. Thank you that Candace is on our side, because she could have hidden that. Thank you. Because she could have hidden that. The video camera lady pushes a button on her camera right in front of him when the shot rang out. Trajectory is exact, only feet away, and no one would expect that. This is an angle. By definition, it's an angle. The camera was set up at like a 45-degree angle. Hey, shot out of camera is not a theory I've tracked, so I don't know much about it. I could go back and watch the video, but maybe another time. That's the end, I think. Georgie, come along, $5. Thank you. Hey guys, this has been fun. Again, I want to reiterate for those of you who are new, because I've been around a long time, but you guys haven't been around a long time for me. If I come on here, I've got something to say. I'm not just going to fire up the camera and babble. If I don't have anything prepared, I'm not going to do a show. That's the great thing about the internet. You can come on and you can, because you got something to say, or you can let it go because you don't have anything to say and you can just come back another day. If I'm on, I've done research and I'm ready to go. So if you tune in, I will not waste your time. You may not like what I have to say. Some of you may not like a couple of my takes tonight. That's fine. You might hate Teddy Roosevelt, or You might hate Booker T. Washington. I don't care. You might hate what I said about the way politics works and the TPUSA. I don't know. You may hate it all. But if you tune in, just know this. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm here to share stuff with you. I would not be here otherwise. I am thankful you guys are coming along with me. This is fun. This is a great creative outlet. Your gifts are unbelievably generous. Unbelievably generous. This is a time commitment, and it takes time away from my family, and it takes time away from my hobbies, and it takes time away from life, right? So your donations make it worth it, honestly. And they encourage me to continue doing this. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. For anyone who ever wants to collaborate, send me an email. I will evaluate it. And if it looks like a good opportunity that will benefit both of us, I'll do it. I will do it. If you don't think I'll benefit you, don't ask. If I don't think you'll benefit me, I'm not going to do it. But that doesn't mean me turning it down is saying anything negative about you. It's just not what I'm looking to accomplish. So that's all. I'm not looking for a handout. I'm just looking for you guys to enjoy yourselves. I don't want to do this in vain. If I do this, I'm wanting you guys to have a good time. Maddie, 1999, I sent you an email and would so appreciate you reading it. I have already told you, if you send it to realbaronpodcast@gmail.com, it will be read in its entirety. Well, hold on. If you send it to realbaronpodcast@gmail.com, I will read a brief email. If you send me something I got to scroll for 4 minutes to get to the bottom of, and it doesn't start with insane amounts of flattery, I'm probably not going to read it. And if you don't sprinkle in some additional flattery here and there to keep me interested, I'm probably going to stop reading it. Or if you just go crazy and start saying really weird stuff, I'm probably not going to read it. So thank you. In the end, though, this has been fun. We're short of 3 hours. There have been several thousand of you here for most of it. So can't thank you enough. Absolutely cannot thank you enough. And yes, everyone hit like and subscribe before Baron closes this out. Great show, mate. Emailed you, and we'll make something happen. Thanks, Ian. I would love to make something happen. There's several people I'd love to collaborate with. You are at the very top of the list, believe it or not. I'm a big fan of Ian's. Incredible fan of Ian's. Been following him for a couple years now. I don't know when you started. I don't want to say I'm your day one, but I've been around watching you a long time. Very, very, very big fan of your work. I look forward to reading that. Thank you, guys. Yeah, like, subscribe, notifications. Like, subscribe, share with your buddies, share with your people at work, and we'll talk again probably Sunday. Thanks, guys.